So I like Kentucky in this one. You know, I think they take care of business, and I think they cover the spread.
I don't know who you got to be crazy to take that Kentucky job. Those fans, that is just different there.
It's a Shark Tank.
It's brutal.
It's a Shark Tank. They put for sale signs in Tubby Smith's yard, who won a national championship.
It's brutal.
National championship. John Calipari won a national championship. He brought in the best talent that we've maybe ever seen on a college basketball team. When you think about it, like think about the teams that he had.
Anthony Davis.
How about the one with the Harrison twins that didn't win it all? That to me was as good as the one that did.
No, I think the team that didn't win it all, maybe his best team, was when it was Boogie Cousins, John Wall, Eric Bledsoe. Like, are you kidding me?
That's ridiculous.
That's the team.
It's the lottery.
Too much talent.
And the Kentucky fans are like, it's not good enough. We'll see you later. Please, let's bring a new coach in. And right now, the new coach, it's the honeymoon phase. Like they haven't had kids yet. Like, you know, it's everything's great. There's no adversity. But if you don't get out of the first round, BBN, they're not very happy.
5 minutes. I can't wait for New Mexico Marquette. And I guarantee Coach is on New Mexico. They're catching 4.5.
Coach, don't do this to me. I'm 0-3. New Mexico.
He likes the Patinos. I know like this.
And Richard's a really close friend of mine. But Richard let me down in last year's tournament. I had him in the Sweet 16. They lost to Clemson in the first round.
Okay, but his father beat Marquette twice this year.
Twice.
You don't think he picks up the phone and says, "Hey,
the
Dad,
scouting report.
How do we do this here?"
The scouting report. He's got it.
It's what we need.
I don't know. Cam Jones, Shaka Smart, Marquette. This is hard.
They don't shoot the that well.
So maybe I'm doing like reverse psychology here because New Mexico let me down so much last year. You know, like I had them in the Sweet 16.
It's called an emotional hedge.
It's emotional hedge.
You're going the other way.
Going the other way.
Emotion. Yeah, it's 4.5 with Marquette Lane. At Coach Matt McCall in studio here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. His alma mater, of course, Florida. They're taking care of business. 42-14, 7:24 to play against Norfolk State. So you're going to be okay there. You're going to be okay.
Okay. I need 28.5 though. I need that game.
I think you're getting there.
You think we're getting there?
Oh yeah. No, this is going to be gross.
But what happens when they take the starters out of the game? And this is the conversation I had in the field of 68 earlier because the guys were like all fired up because I never used to be able to gamble on college sports. It was illegal. You're not allowed to do it. Now I can be in the fight.
Are you finding out that you know too much and that actually hurts you as a gambler?
I think it hurts a little bit. But it's fun. You get excited. I mean, this is reason enough not to go back to coaching. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, you had an easy cover with Michigan last night against UC San Diego.
I told you,
not
guys.
A sweat at all.
Not a sweat at all. I think the refs had the same bet you did.
This is what we're doing.
Not a sweat. 68, 65, 2.5.
The whistle was blowing on one end of the floor, and it seems like maybe it didn't work for some reason on the other end. I don't know what was going on.
Seemed to be an imbalance. Seemed to be an imbalance.
Officiating. You know what's crazy now on this side of things, not coaching? When I call games, all the refs come up to me and give me a hug. Oh, man, we love this side of Matt McCall so much better, man. It's great to see you. I'm like, yeah.
Some are saying UC San Diego got jobbed. Some are saying it. I wouldn't say it, but some are. Dustin is.
You're saying it?
I had plus 2.5. They mount that comeback, and magically there's a ton of contact under the basket. The best player for San Diego fouls out with like 4.5 minutes to go. How do we allow that to happen? Also, the foul that he got called in the last one to get ejected from the game didn't touch a single piece of the player's body.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, too, in the North Carolina game today against Ole Miss, how many offensive fouls were called on Ole Miss?
How about
I had some conspiracy theories there. I'm like, they keep calling offensive fouls on Ole Miss.
Can we talk about Ole Miss because they frustrate me a little bit? I love Chris Beard. I mean,
great coach.
Bettors love Chris Beard for a long time, but it does seem sometimes they don't have a plan on offense. Like they're literally just like,
it's like drive it in there and just try to flip it up and see if it goes in.
And it's like a very low percentage shot, and it's always with like 4 seconds on the shot.
It's unbelievable. I agree. Like Padula with the headband. Like we had Brooks Barnheiser on the field of 68, and I was asking him, like, have you ever rocked a headband? Like, have you ever? I
do it.
You do it. You rock a headband?
Yeah, I used to wear the headband. You know what people used to be like? I got this guy.
You know what I heard somebody say about North Carolina? Palm. He said no defensive intensity. I got to put that on Hubert.
Right.
Sorry.
The clock's at 0 now. What are you doing?
But hard to get up, right? Hard to get up again the way they did with us against the world. They had a whole mantra.
They got a gift. It's like North Carolina getting in the NCAA tournament to me is like when your kids on Christmas morning are opening presents and there's like that one present that they didn't get, but that one present is stuck behind the tree and they didn't see it. So then all of a sudden they're whining, they're crying. I didn't get this. And all of a sudden there's the gift behind the tree. It's back there, like tucked back behind there. Like go get your present. That's your gift. That's what North Carolina got. That's what they got. They got a gift.
And Ole Miss wins the game. They're a 5.5-point underdog against Iowa State in the next round. That feels like a big number.
That's going to be a battle. That's going to be a battle. That does feel like a big number. But there were offensive possessions coming down the stretch today in that Ole Miss North Carolina game where you're like, guys, what are you doing? Stop driving it in there. Space the floor out. Run some offense. Run some clock. Bring Padula off a pin down. Try to get him a shot. They just kept driving it in there and flinging the layups up at the basket.
By the way, outside of Colorado State, we're talking Mountain West with New Mexico coming up here in Marquette. If we're looking at yesterday as a barometer, good performance by Utah State. UCLA 72, Utah State 47. That's embarrassing for the Mountain West.
Mountain West.
Well, they're just not going to get more bids next year.
It's like they're cursed in the NCAA tournament until today.
Colorado State. Colorado State was a favorite today as a 12 seed.
Well, point guard for Memphis. That helps.
Mm-hmm. But they had coaching advantage, too, for
Nico Medved.
Here's the question, though. We've got UCLA and Tennessee in the next round. So they literally want to play the same style of game.
That's going to be ugly.
The total is 132.5, and you've got Tennessee laying 5.5. I'm not going to do the shots at Rick Barnes thing. We talked about it yesterday. But from just a coaching perspective, who do you trust more to win that style? Is it Cronin or is it Barnes in this matchup?
Rick Barnes.
Yeah.
I do. And I think Mick Cronin's a terrific coach. Like a terrific coach. But I trust Barnes. I like this Tennessee team. Zakai Ziegler just seems determined, coming out of the Florida loss. Chaz Lanier's got to make shots. Chaz Lanier has to make shots. That's the biggest key. We said it yesterday.
They just don't have the depth in scoring, so he has to.
They don't have the depth in the scoring. He's the key. If I'm Mick Cronin, the next 24 hours, how are we scheming? How are we taking out Chaz Lanier? What are we doing? Switching actions to deny him so he doesn't come off those pin downs and get threes. That's the biggest key.
It's funny. They're about to tip off with New Mexico and Marquette, and they showed Richard Pitino and Coach Matt McCall in studio with us, a friend of his. Dude, he needs a nap. He looks like, and this is why you made the right decision. He looks like he's coming off a bender.
It's just the dog days.
He looked completely shot.
Do you know what used to happen to me? Is you're running on adrenaline right now at this point in time in the season. And for me, it was coffee, Diet Dr. Pepper, and an occasional Coors Light.
Yeah.
No food, nothing. All you're doing is watching film, and you're tired as heck, but your adrenaline is taking over. And then the second the clock hits 0, I would get sick as a dog. Sick as a dog, because it's like you're not taking care of yourself. I mean, you're so focused and consumed on winning a game.
Your body finally has a moment to realize, I don't have what I need to function.
Your nervous system.
Stop feeding Coors Light and coffee in there.
Your nervous
give me
system.
Something else.
Are you drinking caffeine during the game?
No, I would drink water, but I would also have like some aminos in there.
Yeah.
So I had a little shake on the bench, and then
I think you're good. 45-17, 6 minutes to go in the first half. Florida leads Norfolk State.
Don't take the foot off the gas.
I've got a 3-team parlay. It was in the Discord. Troy first to 10. It's 9-9. They have the ball.
Oh,
That's the first leg. The second leg is Marquette. The third leg is Akron to get first to 10. This is quite a sweat. It pays like 9.5 to 1.
Let's go. Good start.
Need a bucket from Troy, though.
So we are underway with Troy and Kentucky in this window. Dustin, did you get your Troy?
No, they missed the shot. Kentucky with the board. I need to stop. That's not good. Easy look to the basket. It's over.
We'll continue pouring over. And I want to talk to you about Drake as well, who got punched and then pulled away late. That was a tremendous game. There's Richard. Richard, take a nap.
He can't take a nap.
He's got to. It doesn't look like he's doing well.
It's crazy too. Like his dad, the suit.
I know,
so
it's totally
tight-knit,
opposite.
Like nothing's out of place. It's like Richard's a ball coach.
Yeah, he's chill.
He's got the quarter zip on. I talked to him the other day. They got stuck here in Vegas. They were here after the Mountain West tournament.
Oh,
They got stuck. He was walking around in Vegas, and he's like, we're waiting on our flight to get here to take us back. But
Dangerous city to get stuck in.
Dangerous city for your team to get stuck.
Random question here, because you brought it up about when Florida pulls the starters out, do they cover that 28.5? Curious, how many players do you think that don't start for Florida would start for Norfolk State? The entire team?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know,
You're good.
Aberdeen coming off the bench, that's been a story for the Gators this year. And when Elijah Martin was out with some injuries, he started. When Walter Clayton went down with the ankle injury at Tennessee, he gave them such great minutes. I think he started the next game. I mean, I think probably everybody would start for that team.
Next game to tip here, Akron, Arizona. We'll come back and talk to Coach Matt McCall about that. We've got Samich coming up later in the program. John Henson was going to join, your colleague there, but he's at home. I thought he was here in Vegas. He told us he was coming to Vegas.
I guess he came last week for conference, but that's the true degenerate weekend to come, though. Conference championships. There's more games.
Henson got mad at me, too.
Why?
Got mad at me.
What'd you do?
Well, I told him that right now the best rivalry in college basketball is Alabama-Auburn.
Oh, it's not North Carolina, Duke.
No, it's a one-sided deal.
North Carolina is not going to be relevant for a little bit.
Does Hubert Davis come back?
Hubert Davis
He
right
just
now.
signed an extension.
He signed an extension.
What he did?
Like a
He
couple weeks
signed
ago.
an extension. You know, the clock's at 0 right now. Now it's time to get to work.
What's he been doing?
He better be in the portal.
But what's Bubba doing? Giving him why do we all know Bubba? We all know the AD at North Carolina now because of what he's done.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. You should never know the name of the AD. It means something went wrong.
He's got Hubert extended. He's got your boy Bill Belichick as well, coaching the football team. Okay, VSiN Live on YouTube. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio, of course. Coach Matt McCall in studio. Dustin Swedelson. I'm Patrick Meagher. It's Friday. NCAA Championship. We're back.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, SiriusXM Studios at the Wynn, Las Vegas. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. Plenty underway right now. Florida is boat racing. Norfolk, 51-21. That makes Coach Matt McCall happy, who joins us live in studio. Field is 68, NBC, SiriusXM. Of course, Chattanooga, UMass. We've got the chat going live right now at VSiN Live, so make sure you jump in. Dustin and I are in the chat as well, and we do have a question out of the chat for Coach.
Yeah, so Jeremiah writes in the Creighton Auburn matchup in the round of 32, will Kalkbrenner be able to disrupt Janai Broome?
It's going to be really interesting to see how Creighton defends him. Because what makes Janai Broome so good is he can play on the perimeter, he can play in the post. When he catches on the post, he goes into that Barkley dribble. Everybody said, the Charles Barkley, where you just kind of back your defender down. Do they double him? Do they not double him? Kalkbrenner on pick and roll coverage, he's going to stand in the lane. He's not guarding pick and rolls.
Yeah.
Ryan Kalkbrenner does not defend pick and rolls. There's no icing. There's no downing on the wing. There's no bluing, whatever you want to call it. There's no weaking in the middle of the floor. He does not guard pick and rolls. He stands at the halo. So for Auburn, and we said this yesterday, are they going to settle for twos? Like you cannot take the bait of coming off and shooting long jump shots. That's what Louisville did yesterday.
Yeah.
They took long 2-point jump shots because that's what looks like it's open. And then if you go down, I think you have to put Kalkbrenner in a situation, if you're a guard coming off this, hey, man, you got to guard me. Commit to the ball. And when you commit to the ball, I'm dumping it off to Janai Broome for a dunk. Here's the other thing, too, to pay attention to. If Broome is setting ball screens and rolling to the basket, and we know he can set them and pop and make threes, but if he's rolling to the basket, get down there on the baseline in the dunker spot and make Kalkbrenner have to make a decision. Is he going to step up and take the guard, and you can dump that pass off to him? But the one-on-one matchup will be is this how Creighton's going to guard him? Or are they going to double? Because when you double and you commit two to the ball, and this is what they don't do in pick and roll coverage. Because, again, he doesn't guard pick and rolls. They don't commit two to the ball. So if you're going to double Janai in the post, now you're susceptible to give up threes because the ball is going to come out of the post, and Broome throws that lefty hook pass out to the three-point line. So it'll be interesting to see how they defend him. But I just think, Creighton has to stick to their game plan, stick to what's gotten them into the second round of the NCAA.
What is the number on that Creighton-Auburn game?
So
it's high.
Creighton is a 9.5. Auburn's laying it. Total's 151.5. We got more questions coming in for Coach on the YouTube. VSiN Live on YouTube. Live stream is up right now. Come be a part of it.
Yeah, I just learned today I could get in the chat. I had no clue, so we're in the chat.
We've got a few more coming in here. Let's see. Mr. Bwong and Mrs. Bwong. Oh, they have a shared account.
Wow.
It's always a dicey situation. Who does Coach see winning the Houston versus Gonzaga game? And by the way, Houston's laying 5.5. Total's 139.5. And Mark Few looking to go to his 10th straight Sweet 16.
10. Guy never misses a Sweet 16 until he runs into the Cougars tomorrow. How they defend, their ability to trap, their ability to rotate out of the traps. Again, and I'll say this, when you commit two to the basketball, you are now in rotations. That's what you're in basketball. When you commit two to the ball on the defensive end of the floor, you're going to be in rotations. There is not a better team at rotating defensively than the Houston Cougars. I think the streak of Sweet 16s for Mark Few, I think it ends tomorrow. But how can you bet against them? It's unbelievable.
So you're a Florida guy through and through. Let's say Florida gets to the title game. How scared would you be if Houston versus Duke in the matchup?
Houston versus Duke. You keep saying I'm a Florida guy.
What are you talking about?
Is Florida the national championship game? Houston and Duke.
It's opposite side. It's Duke, Houston, Florida. Florida wins this side. Are you more scared of Houston or Duke?
Am I more scared of Houston or Duke?
Yeah.
I'm more scared of Houston.
I love to hear it.
I'm more scared of them.
Duke's young.
Duke's young. And you'd have two great coaches, in Todd Golden and John Shire, who I think for Shire to take over for Krzyzewski and doing the job that
Impossible
he's doing,
spot.
he doesn't get enough credit. I'm not taking anything away from Pat Kelsey because he did a great job flipping that program this year. Please explain to me how John Shire is not ACC coach of the year.
It's ludicrous.
Like, please explain that to me.
You never want to be that guy. And on top of it, he played there, so it feels like the pressure is even
pressure
bigger.
is through the roof. There was really no pressure on Pat Kelsey this year.
No.
If they won 20 games and got to the NCAA tournament, everybody's going to see it as a success.
And he could go right back to a mid-major if he gets let go in a few years.
No question.
Following Spurrier at Florida. It's impossible.
Impossible.
Drake yesterday, wanted to ask you about this, Coach. Beat Missouri 67-57. I mentioned they got punched because Missouri did come back late in that, and then Drake just pulled away again. That was a very good performance by a mid-major.
That's one that I didn't see coming, too. I thought Missouri's athleticism would take over. You know, when you're playing against a team that you feel like you're far more athletic than, you can switch 1 through 5 and you're doing all this. I thought that would eventually take over in the game. And you got to credit the staff, Ben McCullum, what they're doing and what this Drake program's doing, all the wins, everything like that. And, blocking out the distractions of your head coach is leaving. He's taking over another job. No, it's like McNeese, right? Will Wade, we're trying to make a run in this tournament. We'll worry about what's next after this. No, we're trying to make a run now. This Drake team, they continue to turn heads.
Hey, Coach Anthony says, Coach, can you come to DePaul? We need to start winning basketball games again. Do you want to go to DePaul? Why do I say DePaul?
Yeah,
DePaul, yeah. I mean, it's DePaul.
I feel like that's
Chicago's cold, man. I mean, Amherst, Massachusetts was cold, but Chicago's a different.
Chicago's different because of the lake effect
and the wind.
It's
incredible.
level. We cried in Chicago once it was so cold.
I grew up in Michigan, and Chicago was that much colder when I went there.
It's unbelievable how cold it is.
It's insane.
Can we get my guy Billy Donovan out of there too? I feel like
Can we get him back in college, please? He's just wasting his time with the Bulls.
What is he
He's
doing?
not wasting his time. Wasting his talent.
Yes.
He's a college coach.
Go win
He wants to
championships.
coach.
Yeah, he's a ball coach.
He wants to coach.
Hey, those Florida teams, I was in college at the same time. Those were stupid. Stupid teams.
Didn't matter. I mean, I think 4 Final Fours at the University of Florida, 2 national championships. My man is up there wasting.
He just looks like, and they show him on the bench. He's just chilling.
And it's like the Bulls, are we going to blow the roster up? What are we doing?
But the difference is, as an NBA coach, you're managing, and as a college coach, you're coaching. Right, you're managing adults. It's a lot. They're getting paid more than you are. Maybe in college now.
It's starting to shift the other way.
But I also wonder now if he were, because it used to be you're either an NBA coach or a college coach. But I'm curious with the Belichick effect to North Carolina saying we're going to run an NFL program to get you ready for the NFL. Could there be a version of Billy Donovan? I'm going back to college. I will teach you how to be an NBA player. I feel like that should be even more cachet on top of the championships.
People ask me this question all the time. Do I think he comes back?
Does he?
I mean, I think there's certain jobs that you have to entertain.
Oh, if the right one opened up.
I think there's certain ones.
Okay.
So, I
North Carolina.
Coach Donovan, where he's at in his life now, I don't, is he going to
I'll throw one at you.
The baby blue comes calling, you have to listen.
What about, we talked with our buddy Jonathan Von Tobel on the show last night, brought up the possibility of Kansas or UCLA.
No, he said he thinks Self is leaving Kansas for UCLA.
He thinks Self wants to go to UCLA.
Really?
Yeah,
he thinks he's bitter.
He has no inside information, by the way.
Yeah, he might. I don't know if he has intel, but I think he said he just feels like, because Self, he was frustrated with that team this year, and you got bounced yesterday.
I've never seen Bill Self when he coaches, whether it's going well or if it's going bad, whether he's winning or he's losing. He always seems like the same guy. I got a great Bill Self story, by the way. I was an assistant coach at Florida Atlantic, and back in the day, recruiting was 10 days on, 5 days off, 10 days on in July. Well, the second 10 days was in Vegas. And you would come out to Las Vegas, and before the FBI came in and blew the whole thing up, you come out to Vegas, and you'd watch games, and then you'd take a red eye from Las Vegas to Orlando, and the only reason you took the red eye is so you didn't miss any games in Orlando. Bill Self's coming off a national championship. Bill Self was sitting in the back of the plane and a middle seat on a red eye to Orlando, buying everybody beers in the back of the plane. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Just a normal guy.
That's the best.
A normal guy, not about himself. With that, this season, you could see he was frustrated. And you never see Bill Self look frustrated, ever. But he was frustrated with this team. I don't know. I don't see him leaving Kansas. I think when he wants to retire and this is it for him, he doesn't want to coach anymore. You know, he's won championships. He's one of the best. He's in the Naismith Hall of Fame.
What's the short list then for Donovan to come back? You're talking North Carolina. Is there anything else in that class?
I mean, the Baby Blues probably up there. I mean,
Roy Williams left Kansas for North Carolina.
Roy Williams left Kansas for North Carolina. You know, I think there's certain. Coach Donovan is one of the most loyal human beings I know. He's I mean, it's my dad and Billy Donovan. Like that's who it is for me. I don't think he coaches in the SEC. I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Just because he's going to walk into the Exactech Arena or whatever they call it now at Florida, and it's Billy Donovan court. Like, he's not doing that.
Yeah,
like, he's not coaching in the SEC. I think that would be...
He's above the Big East schools.
Just because... I don't know if he's above the Big East. I mean, if there's something big in the Big East, you know, he's a New York guy, Long Island, Rockefeller Center. You know, I don't know. It's, you know, but to be in Chicago right now with the lack of talent on that roster, and they're still winning games because he's such a good coach. So they're going to get the 7 or 8 seed, and they're going to be in the same position they are every single year.
Yep. Run it back. Quickly, fellas, Akron and Arizona coming up here. The number, Dustin, I think it's 14.5.
Yeah, and Akron is a trendy place, so curious to get coach's thoughts on that because people like this offense that John Grossi runs. It's 13.5. Got bet down.
Bet down a little bit.
So money coming in on the Zips total. 164.5. They want to run.
Do you know that I have Akron playing against Liberty in the second round?
Okay, break down Arizona. What is the issue with Arizona?
I don't necessarily have an issue with Arizona. I
Is
just
this a
think
zip love?
We always get this. We get two
We deserve one, by the way.
majors or low majors playing against each other in the second round of the NCAA tournament to get to the Sweet 16.
I'm betting plus 650 on Akron.
We don't have it right now. When I looked at this bracket when it came out, I don't totally trust Oregon, although I think Dana Altman's a terrific coach. I don't totally trust Arizona. So I'm like, look, Richie McKay's a terrific coach. John Gross is a terrific coach, what he's done at Akron. Both those programs, I think both those teams can win. And we get two mid-majors squaring off in the second round of the NCAA tournament to get to the Sweet 16. That's the one I think we get.
We've seen Arizona upset in the past here.
Yes.
So it's not crazy. By the way, William Thayer in the chat, VSiN Live on YouTube, says Billy D to Texas?
SEC.
Billy D to Texas?
I'm also not sure.
It even sounds weird to call Texas SEC, but
I saw a lot of people talking about how Oklahoma and Texas played in the Big 12 tournament last week. I saw a lot of people forgetting which league they were watching.
Look, it's a great job.
A lot of money.
Phenomenal job. There's a lot of money there. Austin's a great place to live. Here's the other piece of it, too. Coach Donovan is under contract with Chicago, and I'll go back to the loyalty piece. He's not leaving until the season's over. He will finish the season. Texas, they need to have a coach in place before then. He's not leaving. He said it last year, with the whole Kentucky situation. He's not leaving. He's going to finish out his obligations with Chicago. And when the clock hits zero for the Bulls, him and Arturis and whoever, they'll sit down, they'll meet. Is this the right fit? Is this what he wants to do going forward? For Coach Donovan to coach in college again, I think what has to happen, and he doesn't need my advice, I'm the one that's always seeking his advice, take the year. Figure out if this is what you want to do. Figure out if you want to go coach college. Go see Coach Pitino at St. John's. Go see Richard Pitino, who worked for you at New Mexico. Go see Anthony Grant at Dayton. Go play golf. Figure out if you do want to coach in college, but take the year before you jump into a situation.
He's still just 59 years old.
He looks good.
And college basketball, I mean, that's 10, 15 more years of coaching.
He's the GOAT. And he took up golf in the NBA bubble. when they had to put those guys in Orlando, he took up golf. And we used to play golf when I worked for him, and he was really bad. He was not good. And he's gotten a lot better. There's nothing worse than playing with a bad golfer.
That's why I don't get invited anymore.
But I'll play with Coach now because he's gotten a lot better.
Coach Matt McCall is here. We'll take a quick break, come back just a couple of minutes, and we'll ask him about the late slate. He's checking in on his Florida Gators. VSiN Live, get involved in the chat. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. We're back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Hear every game of the men's NCAA tournament on SiriusXM channels 208 through 211 or 201 through 204. Plus, get reaction and expert analysis on College Sports Radio channel 84. You hear Coach Matt McCall. And Mad Dog Sports Radio right here, channel 82 for a complete schedule of games and channel numbers. Go to SiriusXM.com/sports or search March Madness on the SiriusXM app.
It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Coach Matt McCall for a couple more minutes. We've got Thomas Gable from the Sportsbook over in Atlantic City at the Borgata coming up at the top of the hour. So you just co-signed. I said there's some really good games late. So let's talk about them before we say goodbye. Oklahoma, UConn. This number, I got 5.5. Is that where you're sitting with UConn laying it?
Yeah, it's a UConn minus 5.5. Totals 146.5. I initially bet Oklahoma when this thing came out. I'm having a lot of regrets, Coach. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Oof. This is tough, and everyone wants to point to the SEC, and Oklahoma played in the SEC, but Oklahoma struggled in the SEC, and Danny Hurley's going to have his team fired up to play in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
and he's going to show clips of the run they went on the last 2 years, and he's going to do different things. I think UConn takes care of business. I think that he's going to have this team ready to go. You look at their team, they got knocked out in the Big East tournament. Hassan Diarra clenches his fist at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Getting ready to get into a fist fight. I just like UConn. I think we're going to get a UConn-Florida matchup in the second round. I think UConn covers in this game. Coach Hurley's going to have his team fired up and ready to play. And I don't trust Oklahoma. I don't trust Oklahoma. All the losses that they had in the SEC, the way they got started in the SEC, I know they have a win over Michigan, but I just don't trust them as much as I trust Danny Hurley, arguably the best coach in the country, not named Rick Pitino.
Let's get one more in. Xavier, Illinois.
Oh,
Illinois 4.5.
it's another team I don't trust. I just don't trust them.
Illinois.
There's a stat. When you look at Illinois, average margin of victory, 15 points. Do you know what their average margin of defeat is?
What?
15 points. Wow. Topsy-turvy.
That is bizarre.
That is weird.
That is really weird.
Yeah.
And to me, that's an inconsistent team. Xavier won a game in the tournament already. Zach Freemantle didn't have his best stuff. He's finally healthy again. I like Xavier. I do. I like them in this game because I just don't trust Illinois. I don't trust them. Same thing in the UConn game. I like UConn because I just don't trust Oklahoma.
I agree. I've been burned too many times by Oklahoma this year.
I don't know why I did it. I think it's because UConn should be better than they are playing, right? The talent is better than this. Also, there's a roster 12-0 last two NCAA tournaments. Can they turn it on and do something against your Gators in the next round should they win?
I don't think they can do anything against my Gators. And if Danny Hurley's watching this, he's probably going to clip it and show his team. I just think Florida is too good. They are playing at a different level. And Todd Golden said it to us yesterday on the field of 68. This is the first time that they're having to deal with expectations. So this is different. Do I think the game can be close? Yes, 100%. I think the game can be close.
Coach
Florida
Matt
wins
McCall.
that game.
The fact that you came down for a second straight day and did this, thank you.
I took over for John Henson, man.
You did. You pulled the field to 68 weight, which we like to see. Of course, SiriusXM, NBC as well. Coach Matt McCall. You got Twitter?
I do.
Coach Matt McCall.
Is it just Coach Matt McCall? Okay.
Coach Matt McCall.
Well, thank you for stopping by again. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, boys.
You're the
I'm
best.
going to go watch the rest of these games.
Yeah, you got to go sweat out that Gator.
Gonna jump on a red eye and fly back to Florida. So
safe travels. Safe travels
New
home.
Mexico looking good, boys.
Back to the lacrosse. When we come back, Thomas Gable, Atlantic City, is going to join us from behind the race and sportsbook right here on VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio. Thanks.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, VSiN Live on YouTube with the chat popping. Dustin and I are in there today. We just learned that we could get in there. So we're going to be in the chat regularly moving forward at VSiN Live on Twitter. Speaking of which, you can get capsules of every upcoming game. So remember, 60 to 90 seconds. We'll let you know who to bet. It's absolutely free over at VSiN Live. And a couple of things. Go ahead, big guy.
I was say this chat on YouTube, it's a little different than the chats I used to get in growing up, where I would be a lesbian chat room and it would just be all teenage boys talking to each other.
Let's talk to Thomas Gable, who runs the race and sportsbook at the Borgata in Atlantic City. That's quite an intro for our buddy TG. Of course, now this has got to be quick today because my assumption is, Thomas, kind of busy at the Borgata right now?
Just a bit. I didn't think it was going to be able to get any busier than we were yesterday, but I think we surpassed it earlier. So, yeah, it's a little crazy today. But as the first 4 days, I should say the first 3 days of March Madness is always very crazy. And then by Sunday, you have the diehards that are sticking around. Everybody else is pretty much dead at that point and going home. So, yeah, it's been nuts. Long hours, but it's been fun, and you know, I can't say some of these games haven't been great watches, right, and you know, or nail biters or anything like that. But that's the beauty of in-play betting now as well. I mean, you're taking so much in game, and while that handle doesn't surpass what you do pre-flop yet. It's getting there. It's certainly getting there, and it keeps people engaged throughout the game, no matter what, if you can continue to get down throughout.
So far, Thomas, what's our big upset? Is it Drake yesterday over Missouri? Can we do better? Can we get another one in there? Do you see something in tonight's action, whether it's Akron, the 13 against number 4 Arizona? Could they pull it off? Could Troy, who's hanging with Kentucky, could they be the one? Or dare I say, this might be offensive to Patrick, could Tom Izzo be susceptible against number 15 Bryant? Will we get another big upset before the night is over?
I think probably Arizona is the most susceptible to an upset with Akron here. Akron, obviously, good offensive team. Arizona will certainly run with them and has no problem doing so. And, you know, it's if this turns into a track meet, it could be anybody's game. But, yeah, I mean, as you said, Drake is, I guess, the big one. And, you know, they were also the most popular dog yesterday. So everybody got home with that. And hasn't been a ton of upsets otherwise. At least from a point spread margin. Colorado State was a 12 seed. They won today, but they were the favorite, 1.5 point favorite against Memphis. So can't really say that was an upset, even though they were the 12 seed in that one. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the upsets are going to come from tonight. You know, same thing. New Mexico, Marquette. You know, it'll be a small upset if New Mexico takes it, but I think Akron's probably the best chance.
Thomas Gable giving us a couple of minutes, of course, the Borgata, longtime friend of the show, friend of the network. He's running it there. So, again, very busy day for Thomas. Just a couple more questions, and we'll let you get back to it. One in particular, because I care about your number, because I need to dig out of a hole, if we're being completely honest here, TG. So let's talk about Xavier, Illinois, coming up a little bit later. I'm excited for this matchup. We just had Coach Matt McCall, and he said he doesn't trust Illinois. They're laying 4.5. What's your number?
Well, we're currently sitting 4.5, and honestly, that's right where I make it. I don't necessarily trust Illinois either. I mean, there's a lot of variance with that team, and not that Xavier is any great shakes this year either. I mean, they look good in their comeback win against Texas in the play-in game, but I think they're pretty much getting the same type of love from the recreational gamblers that North Carolina got today. And I think a lot of it comes down to recency bias. Everybody was tuned in to these playing games. There was no other games going on at the time. Everybody watched North Carolina win that going away, and everybody piled on to them today. And I think the same thing's happening here with Illinois and Xavier. You're seeing a lot of recreational money come in on Xavier. Yes, there's a dog here. North Carolina was the favorite, but I think it's that same effect. You know, the last thing that they saw was that win against Texas. So I truly don't trust either one of these teams. I think the number's right where it should be. But who are you going to be on that one, Patrick?
Well, I'm on Xavier. The big guy is on Illinois.
Because
I hate watching Illinois.
Hold on, but I'm in the same boat as Patrick Thomas, where I was 0 for 3 coming into this slate of games on the day, so I faded myself because my lean was Xavier.
Okay, I got you.
The another one, TG, that I can't say is Porter Moser, Oklahoma. I don't know. I can't stand Dan Hurley, but whatever. 5.5. Go ahead, Dustin.
TG, I bet Oklahoma. I have no idea why. Plus 4.5. I just think UConn is underachieved. Everyone I've told that I bet the Sooners has told me it's a loser. Am I crazy here?
Well, when did you bet them to get 4.5? That's a terrible number.
Yeah, it was as soon as the number came out, I bet it. I thought I was going to beat a move.
Okay, I got you. You bet the opener. All right, yeah. I mean, you could have gotten 6.5 some spots today. So,
wait, maybe I did. I'll go look at what I got.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, we're off to 6.5. We did take Oklahoma money at 6.5, so we're off that. We're currently sitting 6, toggling between 5.5 and 6. But
no, I got 4.
yeah, so I mean, again, no lean there. I guess I would, if gun to my head, I would probably take Oklahoma plus the 6 because I do make it 4.5. But again, it's neither one of these teams do I really trust, and whether it's Hurley or not, I just I don't trust either one.
I know you're in a good mood because Alabama stinks.
Well, listen, Alabama, that was a good result for us. I'll tell you what. The 2 biggest results of the day for us was the first game of the day, Mississippi State against Baylor. Now, I actually made Baylor a 1-point favorite in that. We opened them 1, and favorite flipped, and went off as a pick. There's a lot of Mississippi State money come in. Today, day of the game, our limits are really high. We're taking 50,000 on a side from anybody. So few limit bets came in on Mississippi State, and we obviously Baylor won that, and so that was a great result for us to start the day. And the other game was the North Carolina Mississippi game, where again it just seemed like everybody piled on North Carolina, and Ole Miss jumped out to such a big lead there at halftime. Terrible first half for North Carolina, and they were able to hang on and take the victory. So those were the 2 big ones for us today that really kind of swung the needle in our direction. Last night it was the Michigan game. Your Wolverines there, Patrick, getting the win, and also that was another one where it kind of depends when did you bet that game, because we opened it 3.5. People took the 3.5 there with the dog. We actually closed 1.5 because of how much UC San Diego money we were getting in, and obviously fell 3. So depending on where you bet that or when you bet that, but yeah, Michigan was a very good result for us, and that was probably one of our bigger decisions yesterday. Auburn was a big decision. We lost that. Everybody was on Alabama State in that one, and Auburn never really was in danger of covering that game. So that got home. And the Johnnies. I mean, the Johnnies have been super popular here, and despite a first half where I don't think they covered the first half number, but they easily pulled away there in the second half and was able to cover. So sets up a nice coaching mismatch tomorrow with Pitino and who at Arkansas. So we'll see what happens there. But I have a feeling we're going to need Arkansas, and I don't have any faith in Calipari whatsoever going up against Pitino.
TJ, Patrick started the conversation with Alabama. They're taking on St. Mary's. We couldn't have two more opposite approaches to the game of basketball. St. Mary's is catching 5.5. I have them in my Final Four because I thought that they could slow down these three-point dependent teams. Do you believe Randy Bennett's crew has a chance here against the Tide?
I certainly do. I certainly believe that they have a chance. I think when you get two teams that are basically polar opposites in terms of pace, it's much harder for the fast team, the fast tempo team, to dictate that pace. It's tough to get a slow team to play fast. I definitely think St. Mary's will control this tempo and should be able to keep it close here against Bama. Now, I do make it slightly higher than that. I make it 6, but I would certainly not be looking to lay that with Alabama tomorrow. It would be St. Mary's or pass for me.
Okay, TG, get back to it. Thank you. Trust me, I know how busy you are, so thank you for doing this. Thomas Gable, race and sportsbook director at the Borgata there in Atlantic City. Stop by and say hello. Thanks, TG. Appreciate you.
All right, thanks, guys, and good luck tonight. Hopefully you can get some money back here.
Okay, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Now, a couple of things. We got a Samich coming up, so I'm going to break quickly. Big news out of the NFL. The Giants are signing quarterback Jameis Winston to a 2-year, $8 million deal. That is the dumbest thing. He is horrific.
It's the best.
They are obviously full-on tanking. And Rodgers is going to sign with the Steelers, by the way.
Jameis just tweeted, start spreading the news. I'd say start spreading that 1-6 with Manning over it to put over a Giants jersey, because the New York Giants just solidified the #1 pick in next year's draft. And Arch Manning, welcome aboard. You are a New York Giant.
All right, so Jameis Winston to the Giants. I legitimately think he might be the worst quarterback in the NFL. Look at his picks. All he does is throw pickles.
The best part about his interceptions is you don't actually know which receiver they were intended for. That's how off his throws are.
He is a weird dude. Not a weird dude, Mike Samich. We'll break quickly so we get plenty of time with Samich. Coming up, VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, it's vsin.com/subscribe. $9.99 right now. You get the picks, you get the splits, you get everything we offer for $9.99 right now. A great deal. And by the way, I was over at Circa Sports today at the VSiN studios, and I was hanging out in the back, the control room, hanging out with the peeps, spreading some love. And I looked up on the screen, and I saw family. I saw Mike Somich, and I saw Aaron Halterman killing it with the Road to the Kentucky Derby, which you can find at VSiN Live on our YouTube page. We welcome in Mike Somich now, of course, VSiN host, professional bettor, and a friend of the program. Samo Baum, let's start there. Road to the Kentucky Derby. Tremendous job.
I appreciate it, Patrick. Yeah, it was a blast to do that this morning, able to do it with Aaron Halterman, a good friend and a fellow trusted handicapper of mine. Had a couple fun moments in the show as well. They opened our mics before the show started, and we had no idea. So you got a little of the Aaron Mike banter prior to the actual show going off, but it was a blast. Had a bunch of people in the chat. We're answering some questions. Yeah, you're lucky, Dustin, that you weren't on that open mic because we did not do anything that was too rough there, which was nice. But it was funny to go back and forth with Aaron, and then had a great time doing the show. Make sure you check it out over on YouTube. It's going to re-air on VSiN proper tomorrow, as well as on SiriusXM channel 158. But the YouTube content, you get a little interesting conversation during the breaks. There's a little bit of an after show as well. So if you're a horse racing fan or you want to get into the Kentucky Derby and be knowledgeable this year, it's a great way to do that. Every Friday we'll be doing this VSiN at the track, Road to the Kentucky Derby.
Man, that is my worst nightmare. I have two big fears, Mike. One is that where the hot mic picks up the things I say in the break, which would not only get me fired, but also I would lose a lot of friends because I do talk poorly about people that I claim that I really like. But secondly, I don't want my private text messages ever leaked. You can go through my phone, release all the nude photos I have of myself, but never release my private text messages. Do you have a similar fear?
Text would definitely get me in trouble, right? The pictures, things like that on my phone, not incriminating at all. But I would definitely not want a couple people to be able to go through and read everything from the text perspective.
Mine aren't incriminating. They're just not impressive. That's all.
You say things in groups text that maybe you wouldn't say to the general public. We'll put it that way.
Yes.
I'll bail you out, Samo. I'm dealing with my own 40 minutes of hell. Dustin knows this. I have one Zin left for a whole entire show. Your thoughts and prayers?
I mean, can't you get someone to just run to the Wynn store there? They got to have something.
The Wynn is too bougie. Wynn is too bougie.
Okay, if anyone's listening out there, you happen to be in Las Vegas, if you didn't hear this at the beginning of the show, Patrick's down to one Zin, and the problem is the mood's about to shift after he uses it and it runs out of whatever nicotine is in there, in that thing. And then when he runs out, he gets moody, and then he's mean to me. So please come down to the Wynn, walk on the same hallway that the buffet is on. You'll see the SiriusXM studio. I will pay you for the Zin. I will pay you gas money if you can deliver a Zin to Patrick so I don't get yelled at before the show's over.
All right, Samo, and I don't disagree with what Dustin just said. Let's go. The theme of the tournament so far, kind of basic. Snoozer.
Pretty basic, yeah. We have not. It's been the March unmadness to this point. We had a couple upsets yesterday, but they were kind of predictable upsets. We saw a 12 over a 5 today, but that 12 was favored over the 5. So not exactly anything that knocks your socks off here. We'll see if we produce anything toward the later half, but not shocking either, right? I mean, you talk about the top 4 seeds, even the top 8 seeds, really. They seem like they're kind of head and shoulders above the rest of this field in a way. And so I'm not surprised we didn't see a big upset in the 1 or 2 lines. A little surprised we're not seeing any of the 3 or 4s have more trouble. But again, we'll see if anything happens tonight because you never know. It seems like these are always basic tournaments until they're not. And so we'll see if we hit that apex point now.
Sticking to yesterday, was there a single team or performance that impressed you the most where you opened your eyes and thought, maybe this team could go a little bit further than I anticipated?
Not yesterday. St. John's I thought was awesome, right? I thought St. John's was phenomenal. We both have futures on them, Dustin, so we've been kind of on that St. John's bandwagon for a while. Today, I mean, one of the teams that I wanted to fade was Iowa State, and I still kind of want to fade Iowa State, but I'm a little more concerned today than I was yesterday after what we saw this morning against Lipscomb.
I had Lipscomb, Mike. I had Lipscomb. I had High Point. I had UC San Diego. I had all the trendy teams that nobody watched, but everyone bet on. I have to remember this next year. Wait to bet, hear what everyone says their sneaky plays are, and just bet the other side because the favorites ended up getting home in all of those.
Yeah, I was a Grand
35.
Canyon fan, man. I had a ton of Grand Canyon to make the Sweet 16 to cover a little money line sprinkle. That was over before it started.
That certainly was. By the way, you went in game on New Mexico and Marquette. That's at the break. Maybe we can get a second half number on that, big guy. 10-7 matchup with New Mexico leading by 3 at the break over 7 Marquette, 35-32. What do you got on the second half here?
Marquette's laying 4 and a hook, and the total's 80.5. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, I played Marquette plus 2.5 in game there. I kind of still like Marquette at this number. They were 4-point favorites, got up to 4.5 in some places before the game. I think Marquette's the better team. I think they kind of got unlucky in some of the breaks in the first half. I think Marquette ends up taking care of business. You can get them minus 1.5 right now for the game with that minus 4.5 line in the second half. So I would still lean Marquette here at the current number. Do like the Akron, Arizona over right now if you want to get a piece of that in game. It's down to 153.5. And pace has not been an issue. Making shots has been the problem for these two teams. They took almost 40 shots in the first 10 minutes of this game. The pregame total was sitting in the 160s. We've got an 8-point depression from that, but the pace is still there. I think that the points eventually pick up here. So I take the over 153.5 here in game for Akron and Arizona.
Yeah, that just dropped real quickly. It was 157.5 down to 153.5. My book here, I can only get a 155.5, but I'm with you, Samich. I like that. Second half, they'll be a little bit more relaxed. You know, first half jitters out of the way. Both these teams just like to run and run and run, and I think they'll score more points. So I'm on that over with you. 155.5, unfortunately for me in the second half. How about Kentucky and Troy? Troy's hanging around, Mike, and I know this was another one of those teams that not a lot of people watched, but was super trendy. They don't shoot the 3 well, but they have a lot of the other elements you look for in a dog here. Did you think about betting anything in Kentucky-Troy, where, by the way, the Wildcats lead 35-27?
I don't love this Kentucky team. They're kind of a team that I'm looking forward to fading a little bit further down the line. I did not play either side of this game cash-wise today. I did play Kentucky minus the 11 in the VSiN Challenge, which is really hard to pick 20 games in a single round, let me tell you. Like, you really are scraping the bottom of the barrel. As of right now, I wouldn't touch this one. I think that the number was right around correct. Kentucky up 8, currently minus 12.5 in the game. I think Kentucky's the better team. I think you are likely to see a spurt from Kentucky at some point, but defensively, they're just not that good. And at some point, I want to back teams when I'm laying that 10, 12, 15, 20-point number. I want to back teams that have solid defenses so you can string together stops, you can get turnovers, get out on the run, get easy baskets. That's not necessarily what Kentucky does. So I'd stay away from that one right now.
You got a second half number there? Troy, Kentucky, 35-27. Kentucky leads at the break.
Yeah, right now, Kentucky's laying 4.5. Total's 80.5 also.
All right. Essentially similar to New Mexico and Marquette. By the way, if you want to see Samich's bracket picks, you can go over to VSiN.com. You can check out everybody's bracket picks. You can shame or you can applaud Mr. Samich. Mike Samich joining us here, VSiN Live, which you can find on YouTube. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio, of course. Let's get to a couple of interesting ones coming up here in just a bit. Oklahoma, this is an 8-9 matchup. Oklahoma, UConn, and UConn's right around 5.5 right now, Samo.
Yeah, this would be UConn or pass for me. I just trust this UConn team more. I trust the coaching more than what we're getting from Oklahoma. The Sooners have played well, but they've played really bad in certain spots too. It feels like this is a spot where UConn defensively is going to be able to slow Oklahoma down. And I do think that UConn has that tournament pedigree. It would be UConn or pass, but another one that I have not bet yet, Patrick.
Split the difference for us with Xavier, Illinois. I bet Illinois, but full disclosure, Mike, it's because I'm 0-3 right now, and my lean was Xavier, and I watched what North Carolina did against Ole Miss and thought, you know what, maybe that magic won't be there for the Musketeers. Illini laying 4.5, totals 162.5. What are you thinking?
I wanted to bet this when it was Xavier 2.5, and I've just been hanging out, and now I'm catching 4.5, man. X going to give it to you. Xavier going to win outright against Illinois here. Illinois, just such an up and down team. They have moments of greatness. They also fall flat on their face in a lot of different spots. I think this is one of those spots where they fall flat on their face. Xavier can score the basketball. They're going to be able to go shot for shot with Illinois here. And I think they get more stops defensively. Also, a very good three-point shooting team, a very good free throw team. I think Xavier wins it outright and get plus 160 right now, like the 4.5. I played the over 158.5. This thing has been steamed all the way up to 162.5. I'd still lean over. This is an Illinois team that goes up and down the court, and Xavier does not mind that pace either. So over or nothing for me here at 162.5, but I do like Xavier quite a bit.
You mentioned it last night. It depends on, Thomas Gable had UC San Diego, Michigan initially 3.5. It lands 3. It actually closed 1.5 at the Borgata. So that's the importance of course, when you place a bet. It didn't seem like the officials really wanted UC San Diego to advance and very much wanted Michigan. That was a good one last night.
Yeah, it was a great game. One of the few games that's really come down to the wire so far in this tournament. I thought UC San Diego did a great job responding to Michigan. Michigan jumps out to an early lead, and San Diego kind of has to just grind back in that game and grind back. And they were able to get it inside of possession. I thought they should have gotten some free throws there when they were down 1 late in the game. Could have taken the lead at the line. Ends up not getting the call. Michigan gets the ball. They go up. The rest is history. This is a Michigan team I'm looking to fade down the line, though. I'm not a huge fan of this team. And again, consistency in the tournament's a huge factor for me. This is not a consistent enough Michigan team that can really put together that 40 minutes of great basketball. You see spurts, but you don't see the consistency that you need to be able to win 3-4 games in a row.
Mike, you were on Gonzaga yesterday, laying the 6, and that was a rocking chair against Georgia. I mean, never really in doubt. Now they have a bit of a tougher task taking on a Houston squad that's super physical, and now they have an offense. Cougs are laying 5.5. That totals 139.5. Did you think about anything when it comes to this matchup with Gonzaga and Houston and Mark Few trying to go to another Sweet 16?
So this is an interesting one. One of my bigger bets leading into the tournament was Houston and Duke to make the Elite Eight. You could have gotten that around plus 120. Talked about that in the article over at VSiN.com as well as in the guide that we put out. So I'm pretty invested in Houston being able to win this game. I'm a little nervous. I might be taking some Gonzaga plus 5.5 because I was very impressed with what the Zags were able to do in that round 1 matchup. I laid the 6. I thought they'd be able to cover. I didn't think they'd look that good, and they looked phenomenal. And then you look at the total, right? 137.5, right? If Houston slows this game down and Gonzaga executes in the half court, which they can do, 5.5, 6 is a lot of points out there. So for me, it'll be Gonzaga or pass at this point, and that's scary to say because I do have quite a bit tied up with Houston to make the Elite Eight here.
Samo, Drake going to give it to you. Drake, Texas Tech. Right now, it's Tech 7, 127 on the total. And Drake was great against a very good Missouri offense. They got punched, and then they pulled away late. So what do you think about Drake, Texas Tech here?
Yeah, did a phenomenal job of controlling the pace. We talked about that one on Tuesday. Whoever controlled the pace was going to win that game. If you like Drake, you played the under. If you like Mizzou, you had to take the over there. I think this is a very similar situation. Tech plays slower than Missouri does, but they still don't want to be slowed down as much as Drake is looking to do. And Drake, all season long, has been able to really assert their will on the speed of the games that they play. I think Drake able to slow this game down. It would be under in Drake or pass for me. I have not bet that one yet. I'm looking more toward the under than I am Drake at this point, but I do think that's a game that gets slowed down quite a bit, and I think that favors Drake exponentially.
Michael, for my birthday, you gave me a very kind gift. I turned 40. It was $40 on a 40-1. We went Texas A&M, right? I believe that's what we did. Texas
You did,
A&M.
yeah.
And they're taking on Michigan. And explain this line to me because I'm looking at DraftKings. The Aggies are only 2.5-point favorites against the Wolverines. They are way more physical. They are way tougher. They have way more veterans on their squad. Is that number too short?
It is. I already laid the 2.5. So hopefully the Aggies roll on. We get into the Sweet 16. A little more sweat here for you. I'm looking forward to that steak dinner when they cut down the nets here. 60-1. Not a bad price on the Aggies, too. That floated up from 45-1 in just a couple days. So hopefully they are able to make a run here. But I already laid the 2.5 with the Aggies against Michigan. Michigan, one of those teams that I do want to fade here moving forward. Competition steps up big time here for Michigan. Not to take anything away from UC San Diego, but A&M is a real program from a real conference that has been very good all season long. I think they take care of business against a weaker Michigan team.
I love the BYU-Wisconsin matchup for a lot of reasons. 2 offenses, and I'm saying this about Wisconsin that you like to watch. Whiskey's laying a point here, 155. It's a big total. What do you got, Samo?
I was hoping to be more than a point, Patrick. I have BYU advancing in my bracket. I had BYU Wisconsin with BYU beating them. So I do lean toward the dog here, but I was hoping I would be catching 3, maybe 3.5 in this spot. I think the point line is correct. I'm going to keep an eye on this game and see if we can find a float here. See if we do get some Wisconsin money to come in here, and maybe we can get up to that 3.5 number. I like the over here as well. You mentioned it. Wisconsin plays with pace, and BYU does not mind going up and down the floor and throwing three-pointers up, and they like to hit them too. So I think this is a game that's played at a quicker pace. I think we're more likely to see an over here than an under. I would take BYU again. If we get up to 3, BYU is a bet for me. We'll see if we get that Wisconsin money or not. If we don't, the over would be my play in this game.
Last year at this time, we were all pretty bummed out because it felt like most of us in this world, I think you were part of this, Somich, were on McNeese. And perhaps we were a year early when it came to Will Wade's squad. They end up pulling the upset against Clemson yesterday. Now they take on a Purdue team where Purdue's laying 6.5, totals 143.5 tomorrow. And look, getting up for that first game against Clemson, that's one thing. Celebrating and doing it against a Purdue squad that went to the Final Four a year ago, what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, they did go to the Final Four a year ago, but they were a very different team a year ago as well. And we've seen Purdue teams struggle in the past early in the tournament when you didn't have someone like Zach Edey who was able to really dominate and become an official's nightmare on the inside. It's McNeese or pass. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to the window at 6.5, though. This was one where I made this Purdue -6. So we're like right on that bubble of whether or not I want to bet it. I was hoping I'd catch 7.5, 8 here, and I could get a McNeese bet in. I honestly, at this number, I'd rather play McNeese money line than I would the 6.5, because I do think if they are in this game, they are live to beat Purdue. So I'd almost rather take the +200 with McNeese than taking the money line. I'm definitely not betting Purdue at this number. I need it to be like 3.5, 4 if I'm going in on Purdue.
Mike Somich giving us a few. We appreciate it, of course. VSiN host, professional bettor. Road to the Kentucky Derby, which you can find at VSiN Live on YouTube, then is going to replay on VSiN proper. We're thrilled about it. It's kind of buzzing around VSiN with that new program. So good job out of Mike Somich and Aaron Halterman. Quickly, updates. Florida 76-55 Norfolk. So only thing in question there will be the spread. Kentucky 43-31 jumping on Troy early in the second half. We are still at the break with New Mexico and Marquette just about to get underway. New Mexico 35-32 over Marquette. And then Arizona up 10 on Akron, 37-27. Let's focus on a game coming up later tonight. Not sure if you have anything, but it's a 12-5 matchup. We've had, 2 12s advance thus far. It's a Liberty team, 12, against an Oregon team, 5, and Oregon 6.5, Samo.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one. I think this one is going to be a lot about dictating the pace. If we see a game that starts going up and down, it's a big advantage here for Oregon. It feels like Oregon's going to be able to kind of get the pace going. I'm worried Liberty not able to keep up with them from an offensive perspective. I don't think this is a spot where we see that 12-5 upset. I think the Ducks take care of business here. I would lay it with Oregon, or I'd pass on this one, and I'd be leaning toward the over or pass in this spot as well. Because, again, I do think Oregon able to go up and down the court, and if that's the case, I think they're going to be able to cover and send this game over.
How about the other matchup we haven't touched on yet? We've got Bryant and Michigan State coming up 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Sparty laying 17.5, 152.5. I get it. It's March. It's Izzo. This is what he does. But does Bryant have a chance to cover 17.5?
Man, I'm surprised this line is 17.5. I made this 19.5. And when you have these bigger spreads, the 2 points isn't a massive deal. I actually am looking for a larger number there, or I'm looking to play the dog. And man, Bryant's getting a lot of respect in the market. Like, that's one of those things where you look at this game. I expected Michigan State to get bet out. I thought they'd consistently take money. We saw this at 18.5. It gets bet down to 17.5. It's been Bryant money that is consistently rolling in. You do not see these 16 and 15 seeds often take a lot of money. To me, the market's telling me Bryant's the right side. My numbers tell me there's a slight edge toward Michigan State. I kind of trust the market more than my numbers when you're looking at this type of 15-2 game. So it would be Bryant or pass for me at the current 17.5 number.
Hey, Samo, you want a good joke?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
The Giants signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year deal.
I don't know. Is this good or bad for my plus 550 Giants #1 overall selection? Kind of feels bad.
It's great.
Well, no, I need them to take the #1 pick this year. I need them to trade up for it. It feels
No, you're good. I was just sent this. NFL Network reports Winston's coming in a backup deal, gives the team an option as they still pursue Aaron Rodgers, but also still could trade up for #1.
It doesn't feel like Winston's the answer, right? Like, it feels like they have to do something else.
You're asking the wrong questions if that's the answer.
Yeah.
Well,
this stinks.
This is a GM and a coach that have their job on the line this year. Do you really want to put your job on the line with Jameis Winston? That seems like a really bad idea. So, to me, you got to go out. You got to get Cam Ward, because if you get Cam Ward, and even if you stink the first 5-6 games, if you have that glimmer of hope, you're able to save your jobs, because it's like, nope, we're developing the quarterback. We're going to be good next year. We're building around this. You don't want to change it up and stunt his progression. To me, the move here is to still go get that number 1 pick, but it does make me a little nervous because you do now have 2 quarterbacks on that roster.
It looks like number 1 overall picks off the board right now following this deal. So maybe, Mike, that does give some credence to your concerns with this. But it does seem inevitable that the Giants are going to get Arch Manning next year. So maybe you can bet for 2026 to be the number 1 overall pick?
If it's Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito up there, I would feel pretty good about the Giants end up locking up that number 1 pick. There are some stinkers out there in the NFL, though. Been some interesting moves. I mentioned this. I believe it was with you guys. I want to at least throw it out there, though. Rams plus 190 to win the NFC West. They have had one of the better off seasons, and it's not just because of what they've done. It's because what we've seen in Seattle and San Francisco, both those teams taking a step back. That Rams defense should be better with those 2 young defensive linemen. And now you add Devontae Adams into an offense where he should be able to excel even at his age. So Rams plus 190 in the West, I like quite a bit.
By the way, we should tell Mike we had lunch today. Where was it, Dustin?
Oh, so Patrick and I went to 8 East. Guess who our waitress was?
Our girl.
So who's had us twice now. So
Yep.
Mike and I went one time. We had a few drinks. We ate a bunch of food. And then we went back, 3 months later?
Mm-hmm.
And she happened to be our waitress again, 8 East up at Circa, the Asian restaurant. It's awesome. And we sat down and she looked at both of us and said, dirty vodka martini for me. And yours was Casamigo something?
Casamigos Blancos on the rocks.
Okay. So now that's like over a year ago since I've seen her. Patrick and I sit down. She remembers the order. When I say, you've been our waitress before and you remember my order. And she said, dirty vodka martini. And then she said, your buddy gets whatever you just said, the Casamigos, whatever. Completely nailed it a year later. How insane is that?
Are you sure she didn't say your more attractive friend that's not with you? No, because
actually.
Is Patrick an upgrade or a downgrade from that? I don't even know.
She said, do you have Mike Somich's number?
No, she said, what happened to your face? You used to look better to Patrick.
My face is melting because that story lasted forever. I just was trying to say we ate at a good restaurant. It's called 8 East. Don't give me that look. Too much caffeine over there.
Give that man a Zin. It's already running low.
A freaking Zin. We got an hour 20 left.
I just took the last Zin. People, everybody chill out. It's going to be fine.
I need to get you some cocaine or something.
It's going to be fine. Actually, Brian just recommended in my ear we could maybe Postmate a Zin. I don't think that will be just degeneracy. Brian says we can Postmate alcohol, so yeah.
It's definitely not the worst thing that's been Postmated in Vegas. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I've Postmated some stuff now.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, Somich, great job with the road to the Kentucky Derby. One thing I want to say before we get going here, because I was talking to Bill and Miles downstairs, and they were even getting into the Kentucky Derby. There's a lot of buzz, and that's why I think we're launching Road to the Kentucky Derby at the right time, because there's a lot of buzz about a really good crop of horses this year.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal group. I've said this multiple times. I take 6 horses in last year's Derby that are in this year's crop. You get Bob Baffert back in the mix, which, love him or hate him, it makes a big difference with the level of horse that you're going to get at the Derby. Really interesting right now because you've got kind of an established top 4 or 5 horses. There's another 4 or 5 horses that I think have an ability to win the race that have 0 Kentucky Derby points. We talked about some of them that you can get at monster numbers right now at your sports books. You go check out VSiN at the Races Road to Kentucky Derby. That's in the final segment there if you want to check those out and possibly put 1 or 2 in. Going to be really interesting next week with the Arkansas Derby and the Florida Derby. Once we get the entries, we'll see where some of these trainers are deciding to put their horses. But, just the San Felipe and the Fountain of Youth with Sovereignty winning and with Journalism winning, 2 horses off long layoffs that weren't supposed to be that good, that were awesome. Just makes that trail so much better. And we now have all of the 100-point prep races, or 100 points to the winner prep races in front of us, which is when you see the best efforts from these horses. So I couldn't be more excited for this lead up to this year's Kentucky Derby just 6 weeks away.
Did you end it's incredible. Road to the Kentucky Derby over at VSiN Live. Did you end up hitting your Troy 1st to 10?
No, they missed a wide open look. Kentucky came back the other way, hit a bucket. So we died a very quick death there with Troy. The parlay did not get there. The one yesterday did. We're living off a 6-1, but 962 would have been nice today.
Do you get involved with any of the fun, first to tens, those type of bets, Samich?
Not when I am not in Vegas. When I'm in Vegas, I will partake, right? The pizza money fun plays where you take the dog at a big number, first to 10. You just hope that they come out hot. I think they're a blast. I'm actually enjoying Survivor leagues this year. I'd never played Survivor in March Madness. I'm in a couple of those, including $1 million pool that is kind of crazy. Like you have to pick a team in the Final Four and then a team in the championship game. So it's all about saving some of these picks. Got through yesterday with Gonzaga. Got through today with Iowa State, a team that I have Ole Miss beating next round. So looking forward to seeing how this whole Survivor train works out with March Madness, having to pick one winner every day.
I'm with you, Samo. I just bet Ole Miss plus, I think it was 5 or 5.5. That felt like the wrong team favored. Iowa State limping into this thing. Good matchup against an undersized Lipscomb team. Let's go Rebs here. I'm with you.
Yeah, we had them plus 220 to make the Sweet 16 in the guide and in the article there on VSiN.com. I still like them. They're plus 195 in the game. So getting a little bit of value, even though we had to sweat out a game against North Carolina there. Look, the Iowa State matchup was perfect for them in the first round. This Iowa State team was 8-7 heading into the tournament. They were turning the ball over close to 20% of their possessions. Against a big boy team from a big boy conference, you can't do that. I think this is where Iowa State's run ends. So I do like Ole Miss plus the 5.5. I'm not going to play the money line because I already have the Sweet 16 ticket. But if not, I'd be sprinkling on the money line as well.
Sama Bomb, right there. Sama Bomb, 18 on Twitter. Great job, Mike Samich, VSiN host, professional bettor. Get back to the girls. Thank you for the time tonight. Appreciate you.
You got it. Don't go too crazy tonight, Patrick. Don't. I know how social you are. Don't get out there and go too crazy.
No. I got drama. I got dog drama. I'm driving home as soon as the show ends.
He's a mess.
I got dog drama. The lady's mad that's watching my dog. I have to drive home immediately after the show.
Also, Samich, I just want to put this out there. He was very social yesterday. We've taken his entire social battery. We drained it last night. He's not seeing another human for weeks.
There's no way I could go out tonight. None. You couldn't. Too much talking. Too much talking.
Well, best of luck on the dog drama, Patrick.
Right now.
That's the point. You can't just go 3 hours and then just go talk to people. It's just too much. Anyway, all true. Samo, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Good luck with the dog drama, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you. No, that is real, by the way. But the lady's being weird. And you even read the message and you said it was a weird message.
I think the message is so out of line. And I don't know how this happens to you. I think it's because you're very cordial when you deal with people. People then feel the need to tell you too much that makes situations weird.
She basically, she's watching the dog. I gave her a huge tip. She's got another dog, and she said, your dog has separation anxiety. We didn't sleep a wink last night. I'm like, dude, I didn't.
That's why I paid you.
That's why you're getting paid, one. And two, I'm only telling you how she acts at home, and there's no issues at home. I don't know.
How are you supposed to know how your dog is when you're not there? You're literally not there.
I know.
I don't. But I think you paid her the money, and by paying her the money, it's her job to just kind of deal with it. You gave her extra too.
Yeah, I gave her extra. I'm pissed. I'm actually. It's ruined your whole trip. That's what's ruined my mood.
Yes.
It's not even the Zins, although that would help.
Yeah, I mean, it would give you a little pick-me-up.
It would. So, driving home immediately after this dumb show.
In the desert, middle of the night, just.
I told her, I said, go drop the dog off. At 8 p.m., I'll be home at 11:30, 12, and you're out of my life. I didn't say that.
Well, she is, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's never going to watch the dog again. Anyway.
Look, I would tell you if you were wrong. I felt the message you received was so inappropriate. So by the way, if you're a single young lady in the west side of Los Angeles and you'd like to watch Patrick's dog next time he has to go on a trip, hit us up in the DMs at The Rap Radio.
Yeah, why not? No. I'm good. Thanks, Brian.
That's the opposite.
That's hilarious. 83-61. So right now, Dustin, the only thing in the balance is Florida potentially covering that 29.5.
So Norfolk State right now is inside the number. This thing closed 28.5. I believe it opened 26.5. So this is one to monitor. Also, Troy started to make it a game with Kentucky. I'm laying 11.5, I believe. Yep, 11.5. They're within 11 right now. It's early in the second, 11:46 to go. I need the Wildcats to start scoring in bunches, and I need Troy to start missing some shots. And second half underway with New Mexico and Marquette. Lobos up 43-38, although 43-40, Marquette just made a bucket, but a couple minutes into that one.
Okay, when we come back, Akron and Arizona has gone to the break. We'll get you the second half number there and set up the late games. 41-31, Zona leads the Zips. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. By the way, you can get VSiN right now for just $1.58. All you have to do is go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS. What you'll get with that, a daily email blast with all the best bets from hosts and guests across the VSiN network, exclusive betting splits to sharpen your edge from DraftKings and Circa, plus our March Mania betting guide, which, by the way, I used to prep for the show today. Very helpful information, breakdowns of every single team in the NCAA tournament. Just go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS, SIRIUS.
By the way, it looks like Ryan Odom is going to get the Virginia job, VCU. So, and you mentioned there is some synergy there with UMBC. Remember back in the day beating Virginia, who was a 1 seed, first time that had ever happened up to that point. Ryan Odom did a great job. UMBC, obviously, I believe he went to Utah State for a couple of years, then back across the country to VCU, now staying in Virginia and going to go to Virginia. So another coaching opening about to get filled there. Medved, the gentleman at Colorado State who won today as a 12 seed, he's going to get a job. He may get the Minnesota job. So DeVries went to Indiana. If he goes to Minnesota, that's filled. With Drake winning yesterday, I was going to bend over backwards. They probably already were to get McCall out of Drake, but the assumption would be he is an Iowa boy. The assumption would be that McCollum's going to get the Iowa job. And I'm just thinking if there's any other openings that we're missing.
No major ones that jump out. Ben McCollum's going to Iowa.
Yeah, he's going to Iowa.
That's done. In fact, I think that Darren DeVries, who ended up going to Indiana, who was at Drake, I think he probably wanted the Iowa job because a little less pressure than Indiana. But Iowa has targeted Ben McCollum. And DeVries is a great coach, and he's bringing his son there, and he's gonna be awesome. But I saw something with McCollum last night that I really enjoyed, and you mentioned it when you were talking earlier to Thomas Gable. And it's that they jumped out to a lead, and eventually the athletes from Missouri were able to close the gap and make it interesting. They stopped, they kept their composure, they adjusted, and in the end, Drake found a way to win that game pretty easily. So I thought that was super impressive from McCollum, because here's a team that's a higher seed in a situation against an athletic team that's used to playing a different brand of basketball in a tough conference. And when they got hit with a counter, they were able to come back with a counter of their own. I thought that was a really, really great coaching job by McCollum.
Yeah, totally agree. They didn't fold when they got punched by a more talented team, frankly. If you're Missouri and you just got beat by Drake, you have to start questioning things. Not that Drake isn't really, really good, and obviously he brought everybody with him, but you're much more athletic. You have an explosive offense. You scored in the 50s. That's on you. Halftime number, let's get to it.
I have it.
Arizona up 10 over Akron, 41-31 right now. What's the halftime?
Yeah, we've got the Wildcats laying 5.5. Second half total 87.5. And let's see where we at with the game pacing wise. So it's at 159.5, which is great because Samo, when he was on last segment, gave out over 153.5. I bet over 155.5. So we're at an in-game number here for the second half where it's 159 right now.
Yeah, that's a elevated total, but for rightful reasons with Akron and Arizona, 87.5 in the second half. So just right now, 91-64. Looks like Florida is going to cover. Wow. A little under 2 minutes to play there. They laid a big number. I believe it was 28.5. 91-65 over Norfolk right now. Kentucky, so Troy ended up being... Troy is what we thought they were. And Coach McCall was sitting right there, and I said, do you like Troy today against Kentucky? He said, not at all. And Kentucky ended up closing at 11.5. They're up 20, 59-39.
I'm happy that I ended up laying 11.5 with Kentucky. It's not over yet, but it's kind of over. And this was just very simple. I've been wrong about all of these one big bid league schools that I thought could hang with tougher opponents. I've been dead wrong about them to start. So I figured in this one, I thought Troy would potentially be able to hang. You dive into the numbers. They don't shoot the three well. If you're not going to be able to hit that three-pointer and trade threes when the other team's hitting twos, you're never going to be able to hang with a team like Kentucky in a year where we also have to be fair about Kentucky. We think about the pomp, the circumstance, the hype that a Wildcat team with John Calipari would get. Maybe they don't have that talent. But you know what they have this year? They have a coach who actually draws up X's and O's, and that's the difference here.
Yeah, but what's funny is we were talking about with Jonathan yesterday. Pope went to Kentucky from BYU. Would BYU take Pope back, who's at Kentucky, over the kid they brought in to coach the team from the NBA? I don't think there's any chance.
No. BYU is on another level, and that's fine. But Pope is still an upgrade over John Calipari when it comes to being a tactician right now in college hoops.
Which, by the way, I do think that number is short with St. John's laying 7.
I actually agree.
Arkansas, I think St. John's. I think Pitino is not going to, as you say, take the foot off the throat.
No, messages will be sent.
Messages are going to be sent.
And when the foot is on the throat, it'll be a horse's head left in the bed of John Calipari.
Yeah, Godfather style.
That's what we're looking at.
7 felt short when that opened up. So
I'm seeing 6.5s out there, I think.
And then it's even shortening up more. So I like it. I like St. John's, I should say. Marquette has stormed back, down 3 at the break.
Oh.
They're up 3 right now, 51-48 over New Mexico. And that was Samich. Samich took 2.5 in game, and Marquette starting to lean in with a 3-point lead over the Lobos right now.
That's why he's our smartest friend.
He's very clever. So is Will Hill. Will Hill's going to be joining us in the next hour here. VSiN Live. We've got the chat going on YouTube at VSiN Live, so jump in. We're back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio on YouTube at VSiN Live. And a cool feature. I was talking to Bill and Miles about this earlier today. A cool feature. You can find out our bracket challenge. Someone's going to win $5,000. You can find out by the splits who everybody's taking. Just go over to VSiN.com to check that out. And also on VSiN Live, the little capsules for each game. If there's a game played in the tournament, we break it down on our YouTube page at VSiN Live. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. That's a place to live. If you're a sports bettor, you should be subscribing at VSiN Live on YouTube. Go ahead.
I'm looking at the leaderboard right now. Someone by the name of Dan Hoff is your current leader. He's gone 15-2 so far.
Hoff is on a heater.
Whoever that is, my man, DMs. Get me some picks here. I went 5-10 so far. 5-10.
Yeah.
It's not optimal.
Whoever Hoff is on a freaking heater right now. Props to Hoff. And props to the big guy, little therapy. Our friend Artne as well, who did offer. She's right. She had offered to watch Jeezy. I think the big guy kind of helped me out during the break a little bit there. I'm down bad with the dog issues. It's the only thing I get neurotic about, and I'm on one right now.
Yeah, no, I've literally never seen you like this. You've literally told me, I broke up with a girl over the weekend. Anyway, what's going on? What are we doing?
But here's the thing. You said it during the break. If somebody's upset that's watching your dog, you then want your dog away from the upset people.
Of course, if she is annoyed, even if it's not like anger, she's just bothered by your dog, you're like, hold on. I'm paying you to not be bothered by my dog. That's why you're not doing it for free out of the goodness of your heart. Like, that's why it's a transactional thing right now happening. I give you money. You deal with whatever my dog brings to the table. That's how it works.
And by the way, I paid her up front. She gave me a figure, and I close to doubled the figure.
So, who's the sucker in this right now?
Meaning I do that so then they're even more emboldened, or they feel more obligated to take better care of the dog.
It's just hard.
It's a little psychological trick.
So I've been with you and Jeezy. Jeezy is your best friend. You guys do
that's
everything
my homie.
together.
Yeah, that's right.
You and I went on a trip somewhere. Jeezy came with us and was awesome. Just chilled in the backseat of my car.
Yeah, you saw it. She didn't make a peep.
She doesn't make a noise. She just hangs out.
Yeah.
So I don't like this. But
at
the same time, if this person is not going to bring your dog home to your house for you to be waiting for, there's no sense in you leaving tonight to go rush to get back to the dog.
Maybe a little advice in the chat. I promise I'm going to get off this. Maybe at VSiN Live, you can give me some advice. So we get done with VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio at 7 p.m. West Coast time. I told the lady I'd hop in the whip. I'd drive back to L.A. as soon as the show ends if she wants to give me the dog. The lady said, nah, it should be better the second night. But I'm like freaking out, so I'm like, I'll just drive home tonight anyway. I have a room at Circa until tomorrow. I'm just trying to figure out, do I drive straight from the Wynn and the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn Las Vegas? Do I drive straight, 4.5, 5 hours?
But by the way, I've done that drive in the dark. It's worse in the dark coming to Vegas because the last 3 hours, you're just like in total darkness. There's no street lights. You're literally in the desert.
Hello, darkness.
Now the moon it's lit. Literally lit. The moon looks awesome when you're driving. However, going the direction you're going, the benefit you have is you have to deal with like 2 hours of darkness, and then you're in civilization for the rest of the trip. So it's a little bit better going to LA at night versus coming back.
If Shorty wants to give me listen, I don't know if she's a VSiN Live listener, the lady that's watching Jeezy.
Become a pro right now, VSiN.com/subscribe. Use code SIRIUS, by the way.
It's $9.99, and I know she can afford it.
She could definitely afford a couple months thanks to you.
I know she could afford more than a couple of months. You know what? Zip it and watch the dog.
That's it. No, the text.
Stop sending me passive-aggressive text messages.
For those that missed it, this person watching Patrick's dog sent a text message that she didn't do well the first night without Patrick, and she was barking, and then complained that she didn't get a lot of sleep because Jeezy was upset. And I felt that was an inappropriate message to send in this situation.
I should have said take some melatonin and zip.
Yeah.
All right, let's zip that. But thanks again to everybody for your support, except Brian and Antoine, who haven't even said a word. I haven't said a word.
The only time I've ever seen Patrick like this is like early on when we were hanging out, where he would just be on tilt betting on random baseball games on a Tuesday in July.
Hold on. I promise, Cohen, 80 miles, I'm getting off it, but he did bring up, Brian just brought up a great idea. I'm going to read. He said, read the text on the air.
Read
I
it.
am.
Read it.
I said, hope all is going well with Jeezy.
Oh, so you just checked in.
I said, I'm sure she's having a great time with Ollie. Ollie is Shorty's dog.
Maybe Ollie's a dick. Have we maybe not established that Ollie maybe is a dick of a dog?
No, Ollie's cool. So she said, hi, Jeezy is doing good today. Unfortunately, we had a rough night because she kept barking all night long, so we got no sleep. She needs to be able to learn to sleep independently with the other dogs out in the front room. I think she has separation anxiety because she barks every time I leave the room. Funny that you said she doesn't bark at home. She barks so much here. Anyways, I'm hoping she becomes more comfortable today and can sleep tonight. Other than that, she's been happy. She's been a picky eater with her food, but she's eating fine.
Okay, I know you said we were going to move on, but hold on. The issue at hand here is that you're a great dog owner.
Thank you.
She took shots at basically saying you were not.
Hey, Brian, Antoine, that was passive, wasn't it? Oh, it's funny you said she doesn't.
Yes,
It's funny you said she doesn't bark at home. She doesn't. That's the point, boo. I couldn't work from home remotely for VSiN if I had a barking dog. Donkey.
Yeah, I don't like anything that's happening here. Can you send someone to go get her and save her from this house?
I don't have any friends.
Neither do I. Your only other friend is sitting next to you.
So if you want to park your big ass in your car and go pick her up,
this is the issue I run into.
Hey, if Antoine had any kindness in him, he would have been driving his ass already.
Can you send an Uber to go take?
Can I get a Postmate?
Is there a task rabbit for this?
Postmate, I want Zins and Jeezy. Like, there's Antoine of VSiN Live. And my man, listen, nice guy, but could you step up once in your life, Twan?
Just hook me up, man. I'm trying to find some friends here. You go a long way in working yourself up the depth chart.
You know what I've decided? You two, you need this show permanently at the SiriusXM studios in Las Vegas because we're bringing a little life to this bitch.
We might have to go save a life in the name of a dog named Jeezy.
If that dog is mistreated tonight, there's going to be some hands thrown.
No,
because this lady's husband, I'm going to be honest with you, he's kind of a dick.
No, well, I think there'll be a Netflix documentary made about the murders that occur after that if anything happened to Jeezy.
Don't let the man bun fool you.
Those hands.
That guy, I'll throw the hands.
They can be. They can be thrown.
He's paying attention, JT the donk.
Shrapnel.
Now I'm just in a bad mood.
So it wasn't helpful at all reading the text message on the air.
No.
Oh, Andrew in the chat says, "Ghost." This is a reach. Andrew, YouTube chat. Send Mike in the OC to go get Jeezy.
You know what?
He would do it.
He would do it.
He's a good guy.
I don't hate it.
You know what? We have calls if you want to pop on them.
Yeah, go. But let me get an update on the scores, and we'll get to the calls. 61-48. So we are right now. Kentucky, they're covering against Troy, but Troy could make it interesting with 11.5 is the number. 53-51. So New Mexico is retaking the lead up 53-53. New Mexico, Marquette. That's the game so far of the night. I think we got a good late slate coming up here, to be honest with you. Akron and Arizona. Arizona up 13, 50-37. All right, 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Who do we got, big guy?
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Our guy Tony in Dallas jumping on now. What's going on, Tone?
What up, Tony?
Hey, boys. So, did you get Jeezy during COVID? Because I always remember everything associated with you guys during COVID. And I remember your sister gave you that badass chair, and
yes.
Dustin was looking for a girl. Did you get Jeezy right before COVID, right when you
I got her a couple years. I got her 7 years ago. So a couple years before COVID.
Remember that trip to Ireland you took, and you kept telling us about your trip as a single guy in the van in Ireland? Did you have Jeezy then?
No, I didn't have Jeezy then. But I did go to Ireland alone. And by the way, I recommend it. It's a beautiful country, Tony.
Yeah, I know. See, it's like everybody has like these nightmares of COVID. But honest to God, when I listen to you guys, I always think the good stuff on Fridays, the music, you know, Dustin and his weird list and Jeezy. I mean, it's like it brings back the good times during
You
COVID.
know what?
Man. I really
Dustin, I'm glad you said that, Tone, because you're part of the family here. Dustin and I always talk about it because when we hear, after we left Mad Dog Sports Radio and since we've come back, when we would meet people, the one thing they would talk about was the COVID shows. So we take pride in the sense that we could be part of something that, maybe alleviated something.
The list that you guys used to do on Fridays and the drinks and the happy hour, and we would all call in and tell you what music we were listening to, and the drinks that we would be drinking was just top notch.
Do you know who else,
really
Tony?
was.
Tony, you know who else loves the list? JT the Brick. If you ever call him, ask him what his favorite list of mine was. Make sure you get that in there.
Okay,
Nobody
will
understands.
do.
Nobody
And
understands.
actually,
That's so
on
awkward.
Mike. On Mike, that was a little weird. On Mike and Cheesy, Mike and the OC would totally pick up Cheesy, but that dog will be jumping out of the window 30 minutes into the drive.
Jeezy wants to go back with the abusive lady once Mike comes by.
Absolutely. You and Twan are going to throw down, but that dog is jumping out of the window if it's in the car with Mike and the OC.
Twan taking shots. You got any bets for us later in the late games?
Well, no, actually, no bets. Actually, I was going to ask you about one. That prop you guys gave, I can't remember who gave it. SEC over wins in the tournament, 19.5. I took that over. I'm feeling a little nervous. I was wondering how you guys feel about that prop going forward, the way this tournament's going.
Great job, Tony. Nice to talk to you. Georgia crushed. Vandy out. Trying to think of who else.
Who got eliminated today?
Yeah,
or
SEC.
yesterday? Oh, SEC. Yeah, Vandy,
Georgia.
A&M advances. Let me just pull up the
It would
bracket.
take us an hour. They got 20 teams in.
Yeah, let me pull up. Tennessee advanced, right? That's one. Kentucky's about to advance. Georgia out. I'm just going bracket by bracket. Vandy moves on. Alabama moves on. Or Vandy eliminated. Alabama moves on. Let's see. Mississippi State eliminated today. Auburn advanced. A&M advanced. Ole Miss advanced.
He's going to clear the 19.5 easy.
Yeah. Oklahoma against UConn. That would be helpful for both of us, Tony. So like that there. And then Arkansas tomorrow against St. John's.
He's going to clear the 19.5.
Oh, yeah.
Donkey Kong. All right. I guess I feel better.
No, you don't. Don't lie.
Thanks, Antoine. What the hell? Oh, don't get a. You know what? People don't get a dog because eventually you have to put them to sleep anyway.
Okay, that's the worst. But that's the worst mindset. It's like, why go out of your house and live? You're gonna die one day.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, actually, you do that.
Smile, Shorty's taking a picture of you. Hey, which one is it? What up, boo? No. Dustin just pulled up his shirt when a girl was taking a picture. What an idiot! You can't unsee it, as Brian said. I will say this, and I don't know how to say it. The Wynn is a beautiful property.
I'm glad you said that.
The scenery at the Wynn, and I'm not just talking to Picasso hanging on the wall over there. What walks by these windows, boys? My goodness gracious.
I'm so happy you brought this up because I just had an experience at the Wynn that was unlike anything I've ever had in my entire life in public.
Go ahead. Don't make me play your game to ask you. Just tell your dumb story.
The bathroom has individual stalls where marble goes all the way down to the bottom. No one can see your shoes. There's no peekaboo in there, and it's just marble all over. It was the most elegant number 2 I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Okay. What I was going to say is, Dustin, a lot of people keep walking by, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. This father brought his daughter. But I'm starting to realize that's not dad. No, that's daddy.
Yeah, she calls him daddy
that
for
is
sure.
Daddy. But hey, props to anybody. Nobody's judging. Just go pick up my dog. When we come back, we've got a tip off with UConn and Oklahoma coming up, and our buddy Will Hill's going to help us with it. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
And I got to give a shout out, again, no names, but Dustin's wonderful girlfriend did offer to go pick up Jeezy. So I appreciate that. We welcome you back.
She's used to dealing with an unruly animal, too.
And she was listening when you pulled up your shirt and flashed the girl that was walking by.
She was watching. I have not heard back yet about whether she was proud or upset about me doing that, but unfortunately, it's a habit.
At VSiN Live on YouTube, of course, we've got a game about to tip. By the way, New Mexico has now stretched their lead to 5 over Marquette. So we're following that one. That's probably the game of the night, but we've got a good slate, and we're going to bring in our buddy Will Hill, longtime VSiN host, of course, friend of the show, pride of UConn. We say hi. Will, how are you?
Boys, what's going on? Always good to see you. Also, do you have any money I could borrow? What a disaster this tournament has been for me.
Listen,
my goodness.
The tournament's been a dud, Will.
Hold
Let's
on,
be honest.
Will, you had San Diego in the Final Four. Patrick doesn't like when we complain about refs, but can we discuss what happened down the stretch there?
I mean, my whole thing was I thought Yale was live, and who knows if you get past Michigan, which I mean, coulda, shoulda, whatever. Who knows? Maybe you get Yale in the next round, and then you're in the Sweet 16, and we'll see what happens. Auburn, not an easy second round game, so you gotta take chances with these things. Not like you gotta take chances with these things. That being said, that was a tough one last night, a really tough one, especially if you got the bad number. I mean, talk about open 3.5, 3, and these points, half points mattering, and just, man, they fell apart down the stretch. As soon as they got that 2-point lead, I think if they just got one stop and had the ball back up too after they clawed back, they might have been okay. They gave up the kid from Michigan hit a long 3 right away. Then they had one rim out. I think it was McGee, and then just, boy, an awful last possession. Couldn't get rebounds. So, yeah, it was a tough one. And look, I love this tournament as much as any. There's nothing I love more than this tournament. I count down to it. I love the bracks. I love everything about it. But it certainly loses its luster when you're not winning bets and the games are blowouts. Yeah, the luster of this tournament certainly wears off quickly. And we were just talking about it a little bit before we came on here. Starting to worry that maybe the transfer portal is kind of hurting this tournament with the fact that, look, the mid-majors were starting to get on even footing with the Power Fives, because the Power Five, if you had somebody really good, he was one and done, where the mid-majors, they would stay together. There was continuity. There was experience. That's all gone now, because look at all the tournament. Like, these kids flock to the power schools for the paycheck, for the major conferences. So, man, these mid-majors that once upon a time were live and you do okay taking the points in the first half, that is not the case. You're just seeing a lot of non-competitive basketball here in these first couple days.
Well, 2 things can be true, boys. We can love the tournament, and it can have no juice because it has no juice right now.
We didn't get the upsets we normally get. I mean, all of us will. Lipscomb. And now Drake got there, and it was trendy, but Lipscomb, High Point, San Diego, teams that most of us don't watch, but you're a college hoops guy. Like, you're locked in most of the season with college basketball. Do you find it makes it actually harder right now? Because there is an element to the tournament of finding the right dog, the right favorite. There's no rhyme or reason sometimes to which one of these teams cover these big numbers or these other teams that pull off upsets.
Yeah, and I think part of it is you go into this tournament with the just sort of the preconceived notion. All right, it's sort of like an Easter egg hunt where you got to find like 6 or 8 Easter eggs. There's 6 or 8 upsets out there, 13 seeds, 12, 14, 15, like upsets happen. And you start with that and you just try to find the 6 or 8 that it is, and you hope you find the right ones. If there's not going to be any, and you just end up on some of these dead dogs where, there was reasons to like some of these teams, but I just think maybe, and again, small sample size, it's only a couple days. We'll see how this plays out. You can't make any, grand conclusions from just a couple of days. But remember last year, the first day of the tournament, there wasn't a lot of juice. I remember there was a lot of chalk early in the tournament outside of, a couple upsets here and there. I do wonder if the transfer portal is really just kind of widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
There is something to, I only enjoy sports when my bets are winning, though. There is something to that.
Yeah. It's why I feel bad that I got you addicted to it. It's the state of Connecticut is where you hail from. So let's talk about what's the buzz on this underperforming and that psychopath Dan Hurley UConn team, Oklahoma, who I can't get a read on, and it's just 5.5. Will, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the market seems to really like UConn. I think this opened 2, and then it's gone up to 5.5. I saw some 6.5s out there. I think you can still get a 6 if you like the dog. I think this is a tax on the brand of UConn, the uniform, the fact that it's Hurley, it's March. They've covered and won 12 straight postseason games or tournament games, which is just crazy to even think about, to even say out loud. UConn's going to have a rebounding edge. You worry about that from Oklahoma's standpoint, but UConn's got some real issues defensively that just you're not going to be able to cure just because, it's March and we flip the calendar and all of a sudden, we're good on defense. They don't force any turnovers. They foul a lot. They don't have Sonogo or Klingon to protect the rim. That rim is naked. That you can really get offense on them. Now, look, I think this is a decent matchup offensively. I think they'll get their points on Oklahoma. So the more I talk about it and think about it, maybe an overs in play. I just think the 6 is inflated. I think you're paying a tax for the brand, the uniform, everything on UConn. And remember, Oklahoma, I agree they're a puzzling team. And they almost had 3 seasons in non-conference. Then SEC beat them up, and then they finished the season strong. Remember, they were 13-0 in non-conference. So maybe the fact the SEC just beat them up, banged them up a little bit, there's something to that. I think it'll be a close game. I've watched this UConn team a lot this year, as you guys probably have too. They're just not the same team. They've got some glaring issues. So I wouldn't be shocked if Oklahoma won the game straight up. I really wouldn't. Kind of not that we're due for an upset here because that's not how it works, but I'm down on this UConn team.
I recognize your tone because it's the voice in my head right now as someone who bet Oklahoma at +4.5, which I don't know how I got the worst possible number on this game, but I bet +4.5 because I think UConn's weird. I think they're very up and down, and I think the familiarity of a lot of teams in the Big East did them well. This is a bit of a different matchup. Now, you laid it out with the Sooners, 6-12 in SEC play. I mean, how often do we see a team in the tournament 6-12 in conference play? The thing is, against Division I teams, shot 37% from 3. 55% on 2s, and they're good at defending the 3. They're top 20 in terms of perimeter defense. That's why I end up backing the Sooners, but I don't feel good about it, Will, in any way. However, I'm 0 for 3, or I'm 1 for 4 right now on bets that I felt great about. So maybe the fact that I don't feel great about this bet means Oklahoma gets home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just coming off a Florida bet where I was happy to lay the 28. I thought it was short. I thought that game had 101-59 written all over it, and I think it was 42-13 or Florida might have been up 31 with like 3 minutes to go in the first. I'm just basically waiting for the money to hit my account. I mean, if you told somebody at that point where it basically looked like it was like, a 5-on-3 game or a varsity versus JV game, that Norfolk was going to outscore them by 7-8 points the rest of the way, I said, okay. I know weird things happen in garbage time, but I don't know. Been kind of a strange tournament. I don't know. It's a small sample size, but I don't feel like I've had a great feel on these. I haven't had a great feel for these games. I don't know if you guys feel differently.
So the Lobos right now, 2:24 to play. They're up 67-61 over Marquette. So they go to the break up 3, does New Mexico. Marquette comes out, takes a lead, and then New Mexico storms back. So they're up 6 with 2:24 to play. It is going to be Marquette ball. Okay. Thanks for nothing, Akron. They're down 21. We were hoping that might be something we could get excited about. That's not happening, Will. I'm excited about this. Dead dogs. I'm excited about the Xavier Illinois matchup. Again, the mononucleosis going through Illinois, so it's tough to have a read on that team as well. Xavier, a great second half the other night to advance, and it's Illinois 4.5, Will.
I don't trust this Illinois team. I do have them advancing pretty far in my bracket for that's worth. I like the upside here. I had Ian Eagle on my podcast a week or so ago and asked him for a sleeper team. And almost before I could finish the question, he said, Illinois, they got a pro, they got a Euro who's a lottery pick. They check a lot of boxes. I agree. They've had a lot of bad luck. You mentioned the illnesses, the injuries, hanging jerseys upside down by accident, missing 3-pointers, other teams making threes. They've had a lot go wrong. I thought they were getting back on track, and then Maryland ran them out of the building in the Big Ten game, in that tournament game a week or so ago. So good luck trying to figure out what you're getting from Illinois. I lean towards them winning. They're one of these teams, man. You could win by 20, lose by 20. I wouldn't be shocked either way. I do think Illinois wins, but, man, you start laying points with that team. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, Will, I wonder about Xavier. Same thing that happened with North Carolina. You get up for that play-in game. It's a quick turnaround. You got to figure things out. Illinois, the talent's all there, and almost getting knocked out of the Big Ten tournament was probably the best thing for them when they did, so they can rest up a little bit. The Lithuanian kid at guard, the centers from Croatia, they're both legit. their mismatches, but something happened weird down the stretch where they just lost whatever it was their edge earlier in the season, and now all of a sudden they're not the same team. I did lay the 4.5, but that was fading my instincts, and fading my instincts worked because my instinct said to bet Troy, so I laid it with Kentucky. Doing the same thing with Xavier, Illinois. Instinct was Xavier. We're laying it with Illinois. That's the level we've reached in the NCAA tournament already in the second day of action. We do have a couple other games coming up tonight I want to ask you about. Liberty and Oregon. I don't know much about this Liberty team. I know they won Conference USA. I believe they can shoot the ball pretty well, but Dana Altman, he's probably, you can name on one hand your favorite coaches to back as a better when it comes to tournament play. Ducks are laying 6.5. The total's 137 and a hook. Think about doing anything here?
Seems like a little too many, but this game is basically a home game for Oregon. They're playing in Seattle. And it's a lot of finesse. It's a lot of cutting in motion for that Liberty offense. And I just worry like the size, the athleticism, like you can do that at the mid-major level. But once you start to get against the big athletes of Oregon, sometimes that beautiful offense can be disrupted when there's long arms and all these passing lanes and there's a length reach advantage that Oregon's going to have. So it would be a lean towards Liberty because I do like some of the stuff they run, but I'm not in a hurry here to fade Altman. And the home court, the coach, and just the athletic disparity, plus the fact that, I mean, look, at some point here, human nature starts to kick in when you bet dead dog after dead dog. You get a little, you touch the stove and you get burned. You don't really want to keep touching it. So there is a little element of that where you don't want to just keep taking the points with some of these mid-major teams. So it'd be a lean towards Liberty, but nothing I have a lot of conviction on.
Well, if you believe in signs, while you were breaking down Liberty, Oregon, 2 Oregon fans just walked by and were pounding on the glass. So maybe there's something to that. Thoughts on, I think this number's kind of short with St. John's and Arkansas. What is it, 6.5-ish, 7? I think Pitino is going to want to curb stomp Calipari.
What a fun matchup. I'm actually kind of happy for Calipari. Justin, you and I were talking about this on the Sunday show. I like him. I don't know, something about him. He's self-deprecating. He's got a charm about him. Kind of wore out his welcome in Kentucky. They got sick of him. He got sick of them. So I was happy to see him get a win. I tend to lean towards your way, Patrick, where it's hard to see Arkansas, hanging in this game for the full season. Here's the thing with St. John's. They're in such good shape because Pitino's such a taskmaster. They pull away in all these games. Creighton, and that was a game we talked about last week, Dustin, and the exact thing played out where Creighton was in control for most of it, and then St. John's, they go past them like they're standing still. Same thing happened with Omaha yesterday. They're in such great shape. The last 5-7 minutes of this game, the last quarter minutes of these games, they're in so much better shape than these other teams that's a major edge. So you think about that. What counters that is they don't shoot the free throws great. You figure, man, at some point, I don't care how good you are on the glass and rebounding defense, those free throws, when you can't make them, they come back to bite you. So that is in the back of my head. Haven't seen an Arkansas team total under. That might be the way I would go because I do think this is a matchup where St. John's can just kind of smother them.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. They're built for tournament play, right? A lot of these teams aren't used to being pushed that way. It's kind of the opposite of what happens in the NBA with the Knicks, where they're exhausted and beat up at the end of these series. But for St. John's, I completely agree. By the way, we can lament about how bad the last 2 days have gone. I can tell you this. The numbers for the round of 32, I see a lot of winners out there. I see a lot of bad numbers. The one that jumps out, and we brought it up with Mike Somich earlier, Will, how is Texas A&M only laying 2.5 against Michigan in this one? The Aggies feel like an absolute lock. What do you think of the game?
I was shocked. I saw that open 1.5 -125 on the money line. You ever do this where you look at, man, that line is wrong and you don't bet it, and then you look and it's moved 2 points, and then you have that conundrum of, man, do I play a bad number? What do I do here? So, man, that's one I wish I was quicker on. I said it doing the podcast last night, 1 o'clock in the morning after that line came out. But man, how is that line 1.5? I'm with you. I think A&M wins the game. Michigan, they're just, man, they continue to luck out these close games. I think they have issues, obviously, turning it over, free throws. They've got the 2 bigs, but there are some flaws in that team. A&M is not pretty to watch. It's almost like they chuck up these threes, almost miss on purpose, just so they can get an offensive rebound and start over again. It's really kind of ugly at points.
It's ugly. I like it's A&M. Prison ball.
It is. It really is. I like A&M, though. I'm with you.
Will Hill joining us, of course, VSiN host here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. So New Mexico is going to win and beat Marquette. They were catching 4.5 there. Dustin's going to pick up a dub there, 72-63, 37 seconds to play. So they're going to pick up a win there. Oklahoma and UConn just underway. Go ahead.
Do you know what I'm noticing?
What's that?
When I'm at home or I'm somewhere else watching the games, I've walked into the studio 0 for 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I haven't missed a bet since we walked in the studio yesterday.
So you got to live here.
I think I have to place all of my bets inside the studio at the Win. Maybe we could do a science experiment where I live here and people watch me through the window.
I think so. I think watch you sleep. Drake, Texas Tech. So Drake, we've been talking about the fact that they got punched by Missouri in that second half and still won. They play great defense. Look at the total. Right around 127.5 with Drake, Texas Tech. And the number is Tech 7.5. Will, you got anything?
We'll lean towards Tech. I think that I know it's hard to blow Drake out and it's not comfortable laying a number against them because they, like you said, they slow the game down so much, but they turn it over a lot too. I think that, Texas Tech, when they're on their game, we all agree it's kind of the big four that can win it. To me, Texas Tech is the fifth. They have a lot of talent. It just seems like one of their guys is always out. It's almost like, what do you call it, whack-a-mole. One guy's out, then another guy comes back, and somebody else goes out. When they're at full strength, that is a legitimate elite team. So I worry that Texas Tech, I worry from the Drake perspective, Texas Tech gets a big lead and Drake has to play catch up and starts to have to play fast and it gets away from him. So again, it's not comfortable laying the number against Drake because they tend to play so slow and keep everything close, but I'm inclined to lay it here with Tech.
Yeah, I've got a future on Tech to win it all. By the way, you can catch me and Will on Sunday, Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, Sirius XM channel 158 from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern time on Live Bet Sunday. So we'll take you through all of the games in the round of 32. Last year, we were all on McNeese, Will. And I guess we were a year early because they upset Clemson yesterday. Now they take on a Purdue team where they're going to have to shoot with them. And it's going to be tough to slow them down defensively. Is there any element of a letdown spot in a situation where the Boilermakers are laying 6.5, totals 143.5? Do you have concerns about Will Wade getting his team up for one more?
Yeah, I think there's that happens a lot where you see a mid-major, they can win one, but sometimes they can't too. It's almost like, winning one and winning a tournament game for McNeese is almost like winning your Super Bowl, and you got to turn around and come up with another home run Super Bowl kind of effort a couple days later. That's not always easy. I would be inclined to take the points here just because I still have questions about Purdue. Their 2-point defense, I don't think this is a great Purdue team by any stretch. We've seen them have their struggles in the tournament. In past years, I know they got to the final last year, but obviously Fairleigh Dickinson and Arkansas State and, go down the line. They've been upset plenty. Who was the one? It was St. Peter's a couple years ago. So I like McNeese. I think McNeese keeps it close.
All right. Will Hill joining us. By the way, just as an aside, the Giants signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year deal. Wow. Why?
Sorry, Will, you're not going to get Jameis. You're going to be stuck with Aaron Rodgers with Minnesota.
I don't think he's going to the Vikings. I think he's going to Pittsburgh. I think Minnesota closed the door on that.
Can I ask a question? Why is Minnesota talking about signing a vet when they've got their second-year first-round draft pick apparently ready to go on a rookie deal? Why isn't he playing? Why isn't it a lock?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that they probably just want a little insurance, the second knee surgery or whatever with the health-wise. That's a good team. That's a weird scenario because you have a team that's really built to win. They added more in free agency. They damn near got the 1 seed last year, thanks to your Lions and really thanks to Sam Darnold. That did not happen. But this is a win now team, but they just need like B- quarterback play out of McCarthy. So maybe some of it's the injury, maybe some of it's deep down. Hey, this is still a kid that's playing his first year and we don't know for sure. And we want to be in a situation where if it goes badly, we can have, kind of a Darnold for this season. So I don't know. I mean, you're starting to get to the point. Who can you possibly add? Jones went elsewhere. It doesn't sound like Rodgers is going to happen. I don't know who that veteran backup is going to be.
Hang on. I'm just seeing this. Houston and Gonzaga. People are betting Gonzaga. It was 5.5.
I don't understand that.
It was 5.5. Houston's now laying 4.5, total 139 and a hook. Will, right before all the games tipped off yesterday, I bet Houston to win it all plus 650. I didn't think that number represented how close they were to the 3 teams above them. They were just such a distance. Duke was 320. Florida was 380. 4-1 on Auburn. Houston is as good as all 3 of those teams, plus 650. Are you surprised? I know it's Mark Few, but are you surprised that Gonzaga's taking that money?
A little bit, but I was surprised they took the money the way they did against Georgia. And the first score I saw was like 14-0 Gonzaga. So the numbers love them. I guess there's a group out there that loves them. We'll see. I've always said this, as bad as round 1 is, I've always said round 2 is almost my favorite round. It's the perfect blend of Now, this year you don't have the Cinderellas, but you get really good matchups. You kind of weed out the fat. No more 15s and 16s. You get a lot of good. I mean, BYU, Wisconsin's fun. Texas Tech Drake is a weird, fun one. The Calipari Patino. You just go down the line. You very rarely do you get a bad matchup in the round of 32. I think it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. The round of 32 is where it's at. Tomorrow, you talked about McNeese and Purdue already. You talked about Michigan and A&M. I wanted to ask you about Creighton and Auburn. Is it 9.5, Dustin? Is that what the number is?
Yeah, it's 9.5 still. It hasn't moved, which is an interesting situation just because Creighton has the size. The total's 151.5. Will, Creighton's been a team I've been on the last few years. They always let me down when I really start to believe in them. Do you have any concerns about how Auburn looked down the stretch at the end of the season?
Yes. Feels like they turned off the switch and they've had a hard time getting it back on. It really, I mean, they were only up a point or so with like a minute left in the half against Alabama State. Alabama State looked like they might, keep that game competitive for a while. And obviously Auburn pulled away, but this is now a 5-game sample size where they lost 3 out of 4 to end the season, lost the conference tournament, and then they didn't play well the other day. Now, this might be a matchup. Maybe this is a buy low spot for Auburn because this is a good, I don't know. The perimeter might be an issue for Auburn, where those athletes for Auburn are much better than the Creighton guys, but that's a lot of points for, I think, an underrated coach in McDermott. You got Kalkbrenner, you got Ashworth. I thought Louisville did a terrible job of just not sticking to the scouting report. He got so many open looks. Creighton got so many open looks in general. I thought they a really well-coached team in Louisville was really ill-prepared on Thursday in that opening game of the tournament. I lean towards taking the points. I worry eventually you're going to get one of these home runs for Auburn where they remind us why they were, 1A all year. But I would be inclined to take the points, if anything.
I'm fascinated by BYU and Wisconsin. It's pretty short. It's 1.5 with Wisconsin. Of course, 155.5 on the total. I like watching both offenses. You have a lean here?
Over. I think that Wisconsin is really good on offense. This is not this is not your older brothers Badgers with Ethan Happ, and they're trying to beat you 43-42. They can really score. They can shoot. They're not that good defensively. And this is not the Bo Ryan kind of team. So, and then BYU, they run a lot of good stuff on offense. Their motion, their spacing. That was not an easy matchup. Round 1 against VC. Now they got a break with the altitude and playing close to home. And maybe that's why I'd ever so slightly lean towards BYU winning the game, just because they're more acclimated with it. But this is a very high level round 2 game. This is almost like a Sweet 16 level game. We're almost getting this around early. I'm excited for this one. I lean BYU. I think I like the over more than anything.
How about St. Mary's and Bama, where we've got 2 totally different approaches here? Alabama's laying 5.5. The total's 147.5. We've seen Alabama have weird moments when the three's not falling. St. Mary's, I'm not sure if they get down, they have the shooting to keep up with the Tide if they're hitting their threes. What do you think of this matchup?
Gutty win by St. Mary's. I was thinking they were down, 10, 12, and it's typical St. Mary's going to go out early and underperform expectations. That was a gutty win against Vandy. This is just such a fascinating contrast to styles. I said this about Drake, Missouri, and I'll say it with this one. If you like the dog, if you like St. Mary's, I think you at least have to have part of your bet parlayed with the under, because if it's a St. Mary's game, it's an under game. And if it's a Bama game, it's an over game. It's the old saying of, is it easier to slow a team down or speed them up? I always think it's easier to slow a team down. If they can make Bama guard and get them frustrated and keep them off the glass, St. Mary's does a really good job with the possession game of rebounding both ends, turning you over, not turning you over, where they're just going to get some extra possessions. Fascinating game. I think St. Mary's takes down to the wire. That was not a great performance by Bama today. Bama was in some trouble, it looked like, for a lot of that game. So I like St. Mary's. And again, I do think if you like them, you have to parlay some of that to the under, because I do think it's very much correlated.
Will Hill, VSiN host, of course, not the Will Hill on Twitter, is going to be alongside the big guy on Sunday, Live Bet Sunday. What time, Dustin?
4 to 7 p.m. Eastern time on VSiN channel 158 here on SiriusXM.
All right, so check out the boys on Sunday. Will, thank you for the time tonight, and good luck the rest of the way with your bets. Appreciate you.
Always good to see you guys. Appreciate having me. Thanks.
Great
Thanks,
to
Will.
see you as well. We had Xavier in Illinois push back. Bryant, Michigan State's been pushed back a little bit. So Xavier, Illinois now set the tip at 657. We'll give you leans on those, big guy. If you want to get your picks up in the chat. Of course, it's VSiN Live on YouTube. A lot of good chats coming in. If you want to let us know what you think, Xavier, Illinois 4.5 in the market right now. It's a big total, 162.5. So what do you think there? And we'll come back, give leans, and get you updated on the games in progress. VSiN Live, it's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. So just an update, the dog drama. I would like to say that, and again, SiriusXM Studios, the Win Las Vegas. So I just wrote, because I'm tired, dog drama, the ladies got issues, that's all you need to know. So I said, okay, Lori, if you feel like you can make it happen through the night, I'm going to sleep here and leave at 6 a.m. to drive back. But as I said, if tonight is better for you, no problem in coming. Just wanted to check one last time. So, like, you good, boo? You dummy?
Give me a little direction, because, 30 minutes the other way and you're heading that way, that would be a waste of time. And then if she needs you to come get the dog and you don't leave right away, well, now we're looking at a midnight arrival back in Los Angeles for you.
But I also, this is not talking about me being a great guy, but here's my response when she was super mean to me and passive aggressive.
No, she was rude.
I said, I'm terribly sorry to hear this. I'm a bit at a loss because I only see her at home. I could leave here tonight and pick her up if that helps. My work ends at 7 p.m. and it would take me 4.5 hours to get to you. You could also drop her off later at my apartment and I could drive straight home.
You couldn't be more accommodating, and you're the customer.
What a guy.
You're the customer.
Antoine, what a freaking, what a,
I
know
mean,
what?
look,
I'm impressed with myself because I wanted to tell her to take her iPhone and shove it up her ass.
No, you can't. Look, here's what I'd say. I don't know how this situation plays out tonight. I don't know if you end up in LA. I don't know if you end up in Vegas. You are, when you die one day, going to heaven, because that was a great response.
Appreciate it. That got dark.
You're definitely going to heaven. You're a good person.
That got dark.
It was a proper response when she didn't deserve the respect you gave her, because she took shots of you passive aggressively as a dog owner, and I've watched you. You are a great dog owner. How are you supposed to know how your dog acts when its owner is not around?
The one when she said, funny, you said she doesn't bark but she barks here all the time. I'm like, lady, stop being passive. Like,
how about this, lady? Maybe you suck at dealing with dogs, and that's why dogs bark around you.
Yeah, maybe you're getting a bad review.
Yeah, you're just trying to make a buck here off people going out of town.
Donk.
Make $2, actually.
Yeah. She got paid.
Oh, she did.
She got paid. Whatever. I'm over it.
No, you're not. You're going to be thinking about it all night.
That's true. I'm definitely not over it. All right. Let's get some plays in for these last ones as we wrap it up here. VSiN Live, again, you can find us. We're chilling at the Wynn Studios here in Las Vegas, but you can find us on YouTube, and make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscription. We appreciate that. Look to your right. What up, girl? Okay.
Hey, girl, hey.
Xavier, Illinois. That's a big-ass total, 162.5. And right now, there is a concern of mine with the second half comeback by Xavier the other night. But it sounds cheesy because these are kids that are well conditioned. Illinois is fresh here. Illinois is finally healthy. It's 4.5 with Xavier catching.
Yeah, I laid it. I understand why people want to back Xavier. If I look at my bracket, by the way, I do have Xavier going like the Sweet 16. My mind's in a pretzel with the way things have gone from a betting perspective the last few days. All the leans have been way off. So in this spot, Illinois is a team I targeted mid-season where I said, this is really talented. They have a lottery pick at point guard, the kid from Lithuania. They have a VSiN center who averages 12.5 and almost 8 rebounds a game, shoots about 50% from the floor. It's a good team. They had a couple good wins, but down the stretch, mono, injuries, guys in and out of the lineup, getting smoked by Duke at Madison Square Garden. For whatever reason, they weren't playing up to their potential. This is just a spot where I watched North Carolina today. They didn't have the gas. They didn't have the ability to get through. They got eliminated by Ole Miss. I think we could be looking at the same thing with Xavier, so I laid 4.5 with Illinois.
She responded.
What'd she say?
I'm afraid to look. Okay, so I said, okay, Lori, if you feel like you can make it happen through the night, I'm going to sleep here and leave at 6 a.m. to drive back. But as I said, if tonight is better, no problem in coming. Just wanted to check one last time. She said, no, you should stay. It's no problem at all. She's totally fine here. No need to come back early either. Take your time. Who is this person texting?
Yeah, I think the initial message of complaining was completely out of line. Hey, Patrick, everything's good here.
I think she feels bad because I stayed normal and she stayed psycho.
Well, she realized that she tried to criticize you. You said, I apologize for whatever you're going through based on what you believe I did, but I did nothing. You're actually horrible with dogs, not me. And you were really cool to her about it. And because of that, she now has to be really cool to you.
But also, I said something that she can't fight back with. She said, you said the dog doesn't bark. I said, I can only tell you what she does at home.
Yeah. Do you think I monitor?
And by the way, all the people that have watched her in the past never had issues.
It
could be the husband. It could be the husband texting. He had an, you know what? He had an attitude.
Was he intimidated because you're a good-looking guy?
No. He was.
He's coming for his wife?
He wasn't bad.
I've watched a lot of movies with a similar plot.
You are in Vegas. All right. Anyway,
next game.
I'm going to sleep. Bryant, Michigan State. I got nothing on Bryant, Michigan State.
Here's what I would tell you. I know Matt Humans over at VSiN, VSiN.com/picks for all the picks. He's on Bryant. He likes Bryant.
Okay.
He loves college hoops. Bryant is a team I know a few years ago had a really high-powered offense. Obviously, I haven't followed them. I just have a lot of trouble going against Tom Izzo in March. Sorry, he takes care of business.
17.5 on that. Liberty, Oregon. I'm betting Liberty.
I think that's the sharp play.
Let me just see what
I'll tell you what the betting splits say, by the way.
Yeah, let's see.
Betting splits over at VSiN.com. Sign up right now. Become a pro for as little as $9.99. I mean, you can see where all the sharp money is going. We're going.
Ken Pom has Liberty losing by 4. I'm betting them. Is it 6.5 or 7?
It's 6.5, and I'm looking at for just a little bit of sharp money backing Liberty in the 7. 44% of the money on just 42% of the bets. Let's see what DraftKings has when it comes to this matchup, and it has the opposite. The public is backing Oregon. 66% of the money on 62% of the bets on Oregon. Liberty is the play.
Liberty is the play.
Simple as that.
Look, some of this you got to put on Jeezy. Because if she could just not bark, I don't know why she's barking.
She misses you.
I do feel bad for the lady and her dumb husband and her husband. Some of this you got to put. If I'm being honest, some of it you got to put on the dog.
I don't think so.
But if you guys saw that, she's such a little cute thing.
No, she minds her own business.
She minds her. She keeps to herself.
We drove. Hold on.
To Santa Barbara.
We drove to Santa Barbara from your house. It took like 2.5 hours.
Sat in the back and didn't say a thing.
We drove back from Santa Barbara. I literally forgot she was there the entire ride. Didn't move, didn't make a noise, just chilled the entire time.
You know what? It's on the two of them. You own a dog.
She's
watching
an
service.
angel. Your dog is an angel.
Thank you. I'm feeling better.
It's not you. It's not the dog. These people maybe are not in a look. Some people get into a line of work where it's not their passion. It's just what they do for a paycheck.
You know what it feels like? Projection. Like, are you two fighting and you're just taking it out on me and the dog?
You're annoyed that the dog made a noise. How do they know it wasn't their dog?
Ollie. Because you know what Ollie did when I was there? Barked the whole time.
Oh, it was Ollie. How about this? Maybe Ollie was annoying Jeezy.
Yeah.
I buy that one.
Anyway, thanks, Antoine. Thanks, Brian. Thank you. SiriusXM Studios, Win Las Vegas, hashtag Team Jeezy is right. This has been quite an experience, and I want to thank everybody for making it happen. Again, you can go to VSiN.com and sign up right now, $9.99. You want plays the rest of the tournament. You want NBA, you want NHL, you want horses, you want everything. There you see it right there on the screen. VSiN.com/subscribe, $9.99 right now. Anything from you on the way out?
Real quick closing tabs. We don't have to do the open here. The name of the show, Road to the Kentucky Derby on VSiN, Somich, and Halterman. The road the Kentucky Derby is on this year at Churchill Downs is called Central Avenue in Louisville. And then finally, Coach Matt McCall kept saying BBN. I went to look it up in my phone, but my phone kept autocorrecting to BBC. It's weird.
I met a lot of new people. The only person that literally just blew me off is somebody named Grace.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you're really nice to people, they don't know how to accept it sometimes.
Didn't have grace.
Ironic.
I'm nervous. Thank you to everybody. Appreciate it. We'll see you Monday. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.